city is starving for a winner. I'm starving for a winner, and hopefully the city and Grace will be awfully happy.
I mean, you couldn't ask for any more than this right now. I mean, this is you know, every little boy's dream to be out on the mound.
This incredible roller coaster ride of emotions that has been the 1998 Cubs season wraps up the regular season portion of the schedule today in the Astrodome. The Astros and the Cubs will battle once again before a full house here on WGN. Hello again, everybody. Along with Steve Stone, I'm Chip Carey. Welcome to what we think will be another crazy edition of Cubs baseball. And Terry Mulholland said it best. It's one game, winner take all. Every player's dream, every boy's dream growing up to play Major League Baseball and be in this spot.
This is not a game for the faint of heart. And for Terry Mulholland, when he left this ballpark last, it was in defeat and in embarrassment. But Terry Mulholland has a chance for a redeemer. He goes to the mound today, an unlikely starter. Terry Mulholland with the season on his shoulders. I think he's going to be good enough.
Well, Terry Mulholland's been perfect as a starter for the Cubs. He has been extremely dependable, he's been extremely durable, and he's been extremely tough on the opposition. And we hope that happens today as the Cubs and Astros battle in another must-win situation here at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Starting lineup, some more come your way right after this timeout.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. The Discover Card, the card that pays you back with a cashback bonus award. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Pepsi, Generation Next. ComEd, the official electric company of the Chicago Cubs. ComEd, what do you do with your power? And by Southwest Airlines, offering low fares and frequent flights. Southwest Airlines, the official airline of the Chicago Cubs.
Now.
Hey, Shaq, thanks a lot.
Sorry.
The 24-ounce six-pack, only from Pepsi.
A little help, please. Somebody?
Catch the Cubs year-round from your friendly confines. Subscribe to Vineline, the Cubs monthly newspaper. Vineline is the inside line on the Cubs with coverage that includes player interviews, expert analysis, outstanding photography, and more. Vineline makes a great gift for any occasion. Call 773-404-CUBS today and receive a free gift with your subscription. Rates start at just $19.95. To order, call 773-404-CUBS.
It's a packed house here at the Astrodome on the final Sunday of the 1998 regular season. The only question is, will there be another Monday in the regular season? A lot will depend on what happens to the Cubs today, and what happens to the New York Mets today, and what happens to the San Francisco Giants today. The Mets are playing down in Atlanta, and it's great news for Cub fans. The Atlanta Braves lead New York 5-1. The Braves are batting in their half of the fourth inning. Hideo Nomo is on in relief of New York starter Armando Reynoso, and Greg Maddux is pitching for Atlanta as they now move to the top of the fifth inning. So the Mets, one game behind the Cubs and Giants, will have to come back big time just to have any faint hope of pulling into a tie. Meanwhile, for Sammy Sosa and the Cubs, their task very simple. If they win, they at least know they will play Monday. If they win and the Giants lose, the Cubs know they'll be playing in Atlanta against the Braves in the first round of the National League playoffs. The Giants will get going in Colorado in about a half hour or so. And here is the Cubs starting lineup for this big ball game down at the Astrodome. It's brought to you by Pepsi, and Lance Johnson leads it off. Then it's Jose Hernandez, Mark Grace, Sammy Sosa, Glenn Allen Hill, Gary Gaetti. What a ball game he had yesterday. Then Morandini, Service, and Terry Mulholland for the Cubs.
And the defense for Larry Dierker and the Astros, left to right. Alou, Hidalgo, and Bell. In the infield, Berry, Gutierrez, Biggio, and Bagwell, and a battery of Brad Ausmus and Mike Hampton. Hampton at 11-7, a fine ERA of 3.46, on for the 32nd time. As you see, he's only completed one game. He's had a pretty good year, but not a great year by his standards, because it was last year when he started to put everything together and become a mainstay in this starting rotation. Last year he was 15-10. He'll fall short of that this year.
Steve, I know Cub fans everywhere are extremely nervous about this ball game. It's one game, winner take all, but gauging from the atmosphere in the clubhouse as a former player who's been in this kind of a situation before, what did you gauge the emotions of the Cubs team today?
I thought the team was very loose coming into the ball game today. We were down there for about an hour before the game. The music was blaring. Everybody was going about their business. They were talking to a few more media than they normally talk to, but I believe this team is ready to go. I think they realize that if they continue to win, they control their destiny in their hands, and that's the only thing you can ask for. It's a lot worse situation to be the Mets and know you need some help, and it doesn't look like the Mets are helping themselves early in that one.
So that certainly is good news as they battle in Atlanta. 5-1 is the score in favor of the Braves. Later on, the Giants will battle the Rockies, and we will be on the air here on WGN until the conclusion of that Giants-Colorado ball game, and hopefully have a celebration here at the Astrodome. So Mike Hampton goes to work, and we're underway. It's ball one outside to Lance Johnson, who's become the hottest Cub hitter. A 10-game hitting streak for Lance. 8 multi-hit games during that stretch, and he's got his average at .285 on the year. And amazingly enough, Lance Johnson has just killed Mike Hampton. 7 for 12 with a .583 lifetime batting average, so he doesn't mind this lefty-lefty situation. And he takes a strike, says Mark Hirschbeck, the home plate umpire. Jeff Kellogg at first, Bruce Fremming at second, and everybody in Chicago's favorite umpire, Eric Gregg, over at third. Ball and a strike to Lance. And the count moves in his favor, 2-1. I don't think you're going to get the high fastball from Mark Hirschbeck today. You're going to have to keep that ball down. 2-1. And he kept that one down. It's right through there to even the count, 2-2. Arnie Harris felt that Eric Gregg has lost a lot of weight, looks a lot better, and to me, he looks much better after making that call to end the ball game yesterday. No question. The 2-2 is popped up left side. Sean Berry behind third. In foul ground has it, and Lance Johnson pops out to open up the ball game. So the leadoff man for the Cubs retired, Lance Johnson, and Jose Hernandez, the Cubs shortstop, will be the hitter. He's batting .254 with 23 homers and 75 runs driven in. Jose didn't know if he was going to play today. I wished him good luck, shook his hand, told him it was a great year, and said go get him today. He said, I'm not sure if I'm in the lineup. And he had to go and walk and take a look at the lineup and saw his name in the number 2 spot. Let's hope it's a big day for Jose, who's had a big year for the Cubs. Swing. And he missed that one. 0-1. Career highs with homers, with RBIs. Where would the Cubs have been without the career year he has had this year? Remember, he wanted to be traded by the Cubs in spring training because he felt he wasn't going to get enough playing time with Blauser and Kevin Ory and Mickey Morandini manning the infield spots. Funny how things work out, though. And a good breaking ball is strike 2 call. Jose has always hit Hampton well. 6 for 16 with a couple of doubles and a couple of triples. But lately, they're showing Jose a steady diet of off-speed pitches and then sinking the ball away from him. A ball, 2 strikes. Terry Mulholland will go today. If there's a tomorrow for the Cubs, it would be in all likelihood against the Giants at Wrigley Field, and Steve Traxel would be the Cubs starter. Before the game, Steve Traxel was talking to Phil Regan about pitching on the sidelines today. And Phil said, well, if we have to go to tomorrow, you're pitching. So Traxel means that means I can go have a donut. He said, go have a donut because you're not throwing on the sidelines today. We might just need you for tomorrow. Everybody better be ready today just in case. The 1-2 just missed. And the count now moves to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, so many great stories this year in baseball. Certainly this Houston team, one of them, the Cub team, another. And a great way to wrap up the regular season here at the Dome. Bouncing ball hit toward the shortstop, and under the glove of Gutierrez into center field. A very softly hit ball. Gutierrez should have made the play, but he didn't. We'll have to wait to see how it's ruled, and it should be ruled an error. This is the last play yesterday.
Moises Alou on third. Ron Beck looking for 50. Dave Clark taps the ball to the right side. Beck misses him, hits him in the back, but Eric Gregg ruled that he went out of the baseline to avoid the tag. Hence, the Cubs went home very happy.
Mark Grace takes a strike. The Astros were incensed at the call. You could just imagine what the Giants were thinking in their clubhouse. They were watching the game yesterday.
Well, Larry Dierker looked for a second, saw the outcome on the appeal, and then went right back into the clubhouse. Because for him, yesterday's game meant nothing. Quite obviously for the Cubs, it meant everything, and they got the benefit of the call.
So it's the Cubs and Giants atop the wild card pile. A Cub win, a Giant loss, and the Cubs are in the postseason without a playoff. The pitch downstairs, and Grace had 2 balls and a strike with Sammy Sosa waiting on deck.
The Cubs have not done a great deal of running. You don't expect them to be running here with a left-hander on the mound. Osmus has a pretty good delivery, and obviously you don't want to run and get yourself taken out of an inning with Sammy in the on-deck circle. But then again, if you ground into 2, Sammy's going to lead off the next inning. So Jose Hernandez is going to have to go in hard at second and try to break it up on a double play.
Grace, as you saw, 1 for 8 in the series, but they hit a big one. The stretch and the pitch way outside. Now Grace really in the driver's seat. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, now I think it would be wise to send Jose Hernandez. If it's out of the strike zone, Mark is not going to swing at it. If it's in the strike zone, he's going to put it in play.
Big lead at first. Runner doesn't go. The pitch rifled down the right field line. That ball fair. Jose around second on his way to third. Bell up cleanly in right. They'll stop Hernandez. It's third. Grace with a double, and the Cubs in business here in the first. If they set him, they might have been able to score him. As it is, though, 2 are on, 1 is out, and Sosa with a chance to put the Cubs up early.
When Hampton fell behind Grace, he's just looking one thing. Fastball middle in. And he got this fastball out over the plate, took it down the line. And Jose Hernandez stopped at third by Tom Gamboa. He was not running on the play, but the Cubs will take runners at second and third. Only 1 out for Sammy.
And a big standing ovation for Sosa, well deserved for what he's done on the field. But how about what Sosa, Henry Rodriguez, and Manny Alexander did off the field yesterday? They went to the Dominican Republic consulate here in Houston to help load trucks with food and emergency supplies to deliver to Dominican victims of Hurricane George down in the Caribbean. Folks, you're looking for men whom you want to call heroes. Look no further than Sammy Sosa, Henry Rodriguez, and Manny Alexander.
And through the Sammy Sosa Foundation, they are raising a lot of money and supplies for the victims of the hurricane.
The flash bulbs popping. The pitch is inside, ball 1. Sosa also said he's going to auction off the home run ball number 62, and all the proceeds from that will go to Dominican hurricane relief.
Now, Sammy has never hit Hampton, but he's hit a lot of guys this year that he's never hit before. He's just 2 for 27, an .074 batting average against him.
The 1-0 swung, line drive, base hit center field. 1 run scores. Grace will be stopped at third, and the Cubs have a 1-0 lead. Oh baby, what a bullet right up the middle. That ball was a rocket.
For Sammy, RBI number 158. Hampton throws it down the middle, and these days you can't make any mistakes on Sammy Sosa. So now runners at the corners, only 1 out, and the Cubs lead 1-0.
That's exactly what the Cubs were hoping, to get an early lead here, put the pressure on the Giants, send a signal to the Mets, and give Terry Mulholland as much leeway as he could possibly have, and he hasn't needed much for the Cubs in a starting role. First and third with 1 out for Glenn Allen Hill. The Cubs enjoy a 1-0 lead here in the first inning. The pitch is a ball low. 1 ball, no strikes. Hill along with Gary Gaetti. 2 huge signings for Ed Lynch and this Cub team in the final month and a half of this year. 1-0. Bouncing ball. Hampton spears that. Second base low throw. 1. Relay to first. 2. Double play. Oh, what a play by Hampton. A 1 6-3 double play retires the side, and the Cubs settle for one in the first. On we go to the bottom half at the Dome. What a ball game already. It's 1-0 Cubs. Cubs get a run in the first. 1-0 is our score after a half inning at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Here's a look at the Houston lineup. They've won 101 games on the year. Biggio, Hidalgo, and Bell. Then it's Jeff Bagwell, MVP candidate Moises Alou, Sean Berry, Gutierrez, and the battery of Ausmus and Hampton.
And the Pepsi defense for Jim Riggleman and the Cubs. Hill, Johnson, and Sosa left to right. Gaetti, Hernandez, Morandini, and Grace, and a battery of Scott Service and Terry Mulholland, who's been the rubber-armed left-hander for the Cubs this year. Looking for his 7th win, just his 6th start. And he's just been plain brilliant.
3-0, a 142 earned run average in his starts for the Cubs this year. And a man you want to keep off the base paths is the man that greets him first. Craig Biggio with 51 doubles, with 50 stolen bases, 20 home runs, 88 driven in, and a .328 batting average from the leadoff spot.
I don't think they're going to have to worry much about the running game. I think that just Terry Mulholland's presence out there and his great move shuts down everybody's running game.
Strike 2, swinging. It's 0-2. Well, we've talked before about Terry. We don't think a man has attempted to steal against him all year long. So if he does fall into trouble, he does shut down the running game, which is a big part of this Houston offense. 2-strike pitch to Biggio, and boy, he's keeping that ball inside, and he went around, 1 down.
I think Biggio probably a little startled by that call of Jeff Kellogg. Didn't look like he went around far enough, but we'll take a look at it, and certainly a good way to start the game if you're Terry Mulholland. He cuts that fastball down and in. Biggio thinking that he would have the benefit of the call, but Jeffrey Kellogg says you went around enough.
So 1 up, 1 down, and here is Hidalgo, the Astros center fielder. And he takes a strike. He's hitting an even 300. Here's Mr. Hidalgo.
I'd like to see Hidalgo off base when Derek Bell comes to bat, because he has been tough on Mulholland. And not only that, by his own admission, he is really pressing to get to 200 hits. He has 197 coming in.
Well, let's hope he doesn't get there. Hidalgo swings and falls behind 1-2. Well, Biggio leads him in the hit parade. He's got 210 hits for this Houston team. This is a very good ball club, one that I think nobody in the National League wants to play in any round of the National League playoffs.
Well, if the Cubs do get in, the only way they could see Houston, if the Cubs beat Atlanta, Houston beats San Diego, and they would have a return series that would kick off right here in the Dome.
And the Cubs have played very well here. That just missed inside to count full 3-2. Cubs have won 3 of 5 here at the Dome. Gave 1 game away. 3-2 to Hidalgo. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. 2 up, 2 down.
Let's take a look at the double play that ended the inning, and a fine play by Mike Hampton, who was in a world of trouble, has it hit right back to him, spears it, makes a low throw, but Gutierrez, who had erred early in the inning, makes a redeemer on this return throw. So the Cubs, with all kinds of noise, come away with only 1 run. And Terry Mulholland off to a great start. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts. But the very tough Derek Bell.
So Bell bats with the bases empty. He's had a fantastic year. 22 homers, 108 driven in. Has missed some time with a sore neck, though. He took himself out of a ball game the other day with that neck problem. And let's peek at our ComEd Power Profile.
The ComEd Power Profile is Derek Bell against Mulholland. We told you he was always dangerous against Terry, but more so when he's looking for that 200 hit plateau.
Terry fires another strike. Man, oh man, he has been like a machine out there. 1-1 is the count.
Well, Terry loves to live on the inside corner, and for right-hand hitters who try to crowd the plate or step toward the plate on their first stride, he's murder on them.
1-1. Bouncing ball, high hopper. It's going to roll foul at third base. 1-2. To be 40 again, huh, Stoney?
and have the speed that Gary Gaetti has. He scored on a very shallow fly ball. Everett made a great throw. That ball in left center field. Everett going away from the throw, almost like a shortstop on a double play. Got the ball on one hop, but Gaetti just flashed by Tony Eusebio. He couldn't even react fast enough to get a tag on him.
Oh, man, I was hoping he'd slide. He didn't need to, though. And the Cubs won. The pitch. Swing and a miss. He strikes out the side. Oh, what a statement by Mulholland. He's saying, give me one, boys, and that might be enough. We'll see if that's the case. Cubs 1, Astros nothing after 1.
The 30. Dragged down from behind inside the 20-yard line by Calvin Branch, and Deion Sanders has put the Cowboys right back at the goal line door.
I don't understand why you would line up and kick the ball far right down the middle of the field to Deion Sanders. Hey, believe it. This guy is good. Why keep testing it? The idea is not to give the other team's good players a chance to make plays. They've been doing it all day long. Very fortunate that the Raiders, Calvin Branch is hustling to stop the touchdown.
44-yard punt, 59-yard return. And Deion Sanders, much as he lit up the Giants at the Meadowlands last Monday night, has put the Cowboys in good position here today.
Called the runner out, and Gary Gaetti singles on the first pitch into left field for the Cubs.
That one just out of reach of Sean Berry. And what you get with Berry is a little better offense than Billy Spires, a little more power, but just a shade worse defense. And Berry can't get to it, either can Gutierrez. So the venerable Gary Gaetti leads it off with a base hit, and here's a man who needs about 3 of them today to get that batting average up to 300.
Mickey at 297 on the year. And he has been mesmerized by Hampton. 0 for 12 lifetime. But yesterday, Andrew Jones of the Braves was 0 for 12 lifetime against Al Leiter and finally solved him. So maybe today will be Mickey's turn in today's Cubs-Houston matchup.
Well, if Hampson keeps falling behind, he's going to have some problems with all of the Cub hitters. Looks like the Cubs have come out raring to go today. They know that if they win, worst case scenario, a playoff game in Chicago tomorrow.
Morandini hits a high fly ball into left center field. Charging over is Hidalgo. He makes the grab. And Mickey flies out. 4 out number 1 here in the second. And former Astro Scott Service will be the hitter. Good news, Atlanta up 5-1 over the Mets. That game is in the 6th inning. And they'll fire away in Colorado in about 5 or 6 minutes.
And the Giants have been as hot as you'd want to get, closing that gap to 0, as they say in soccer. Let's put a few more runs on the board and post that up on that scoreboard in Colorado.
That would be nice. The pitch to Service is outside. Well, how about this day for Roy Halladay? Who is Roy Halladay, you're saying? Well, he's a rookie pitcher for Toronto today. Had a no-hitter into the 9th inning. Lost it on a Bobby Higginson solo home run, but he won the game 2-1. The pitch to Service is a called strike. Boy, the last time I can remember ever seeing a no-hitter pitched on the final game of the regular season was right here in Houston. Mike Scott did it for the Astros. It clinched a playoff berth for Houston that year. A ball and a strike. And Gaetti virtually atop the first base bag.
I know you folks at home obviously very anxious and psyched up about this game. For us, in the 16 years that I've been here working alongside your grandfather Chip and of course with Arnie Harris, this is the first meaningful last game of the regular season we've ever worked. In '84 and '89 they had clinched it early.
The pitch lined into right at Derek Bell. Sinking liner. There's the catch. He'll have no play at first as Gaetti gets back in time. They're now 2 men out.
Good play by Bell, who's had a magnificent defensive series. Took a base hit away from Morandini in the first game that the Cubs lost. This is a little easier play as he comes in and gets that sinking line drive, and now it'll be up to Terry Mulholland. Terry's been taking some pretty good cuts in batting practice lately. He's looked like he can do some damage with the bat. How about Mark Clark yesterday with a couple of doubles?
It must be our year, dude. The pitch is a strike.
Yeah, when I saw the first double, I thought, wow. Then the second double was in the lights, and Lou missed it. But for Mark Clark with 2 doubles, that ties his season output in one day.
Kind of like Stan Javier yesterday. How about that guy?
Well, obviously Javier had a big day for the Cubs. Mark Clark, with everything going, everything on the line, came through with his biggest effort of the year in a gem here over 8 innings.
0-2 to Terry. And he looks at a ball low and in.
He had a shot of Orlando Merced. He's the man that took a ball right off the ankles and hit the sacrifice fly that scored Gary Gaetti. It was a great piece of hitting. He fouled off what seemed like a pretty good pitch to hit on 3-1, and on 3-2, just protecting, he was able to flick it into left center, and the Cubs, who had trailed 1-0 all game, had tied it up.
The 1-2. A good stop by Osmus. It's 2-2. Let's pause quickly now for station identification from Houston.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
Upwards of 50,000 here at the Dome in Houston. A Cub win guarantees we play another day. Then we scoreboard watch and see what Colorado and the Giants do. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gaetti a lead at first. Now the pitch. Inside. Full count now, 3-2.
Well, that's what you want, because Gaetti can get a running start. It also takes away the force at second base, and we've seen Mulholland leg out a crucial infield hit earlier.
And he walks the pitcher. And look at Hampton. He can't believe it. 2 are on, 2 are out.
Somewhat unbelievable, especially when you get on top 1 and 2 and you find yourself walking Terry Mulholland. Now you have to face Lance Johnson, and he's got that batting average up over 280.
He popped out his first time, but a hit could mean a run here. He's 7 out of 13 against Hampton in his career. The pitch is a fastball right through there.
Arms in the outfield pretty good all the way around. And so on a base hit, it'll be the 40-year-old legs of Gary Gaetti against the Astro outfield.
Runners lead first and second. Cubs up by a 1-0 tally. The pitch is hacked foul. 0-2. The air conditioning blowing in today at the Dome. As you see the banners in center field with the Texas flag, the American flag. Awfully tough on the home run hitters.
Awfully tough to hit in this weather.
But the pitchers love coming to the Dome. 0-2. The runners lead. Here comes Hampton's delivery, and it's strike 3 call on the outside corner in the inning over. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. After 1.5, Cubs still lead it by a run. Crew Chip Caray from the Dome in Houston, Texas. It'll be the heart of the Astro order, started by Jeff Bagwell against Mulholland, who struck out the side in the Houston first.
On a pace to fan 27 men.
Don't think that's ever been done before, but maybe today will be the day.
Stranger things have happened on the last day of the season.
Yes, they have. And that would be very strange. 1 ball, no strikes to Jeff Bagwell. A high fly ball hit to left. He got under it. Glenn Allen Hill camps out. And now Mulholland on pace to strike out 26 men. 1 away.
Well, the man coming up has meant everything to this team, and that's Moises Alou. Talking with Larry Dierker, he said, yes, in the last month, it's been Craig Biggio hitting everything in sight, but all year long, Moises Alou has been the heart and soul of this team. They have a lot of thunder in this lineup. They lead the National League in runs scored, and Moises Alou is a huge part of that.
24 driven in. The man's hit .312. And I don't think anybody expected him to put up those kind of otherworldly numbers. They knew he was going to be a good player and fit in very well offensively with this team. But I think everybody in Houston was very pleasantly surprised with the ungodly offensive output he gave them this year.
He's also surrounded by a lot of other good hitters, and I think that always makes you a better hitter. And in this case, it's certainly made Alou a dangerous hitter.
And also a man who can request a trade, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of this year. He was traded in the middle of a multi-year deal that he signed with the Marlins.
Right, he can indeed do that.
Let's hope he requests a trade either out of our division or to us. And he rips that ball foul. 2 balls and a strike.
Last couple of years, he had hit 23 home runs for Florida, 21 home runs for Montreal. That was in 97 and 96. Before that, his previous best home run year was 94. He hit 22. This is a breakout year with 38 home runs.
And it couldn't happen to a nicer man than Mr. Alou. Strike inside corner. He didn't like it. 2-2.
Well, you have a lot of these Astros that stand very close to the plate, and they're used to seeing fastballs out away. But you see where service sets up? Terry gets it right there. And if you stay there, you're going to get the benefit of the calls.
He did in the first inning. He's battled back even. 2-2. That one too far inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. They're underway in Colorado. Marvin Bernard is leading off for the Giants. We'll keep you posted on that game as we move along here in Houston. Cubs in front 1-0. Bases empty in the Astros second. And Alou hits that ball sharply to third. Gary Gaetti has made every play since joining the Cubs, and he made that one for out number 2.
Interesting quote came out of that San Francisco-Colorado game. Kirk Reeder, who's starting the game for San Francisco, admitted yesterday that he had a sore elbow and said that he wouldn't be pitching if this game didn't mean anything. Well, as it turns out, to San Francisco, the game means everything. But they've got a pitcher apparently who's going to be less than his best. So let's see if the Rockies can take advantage of that.
And let's see if Terry can take advantage of Sean Berry here. 2 outs, bases empty, Cubs by a run. First pitch is a ball low. Berry hitting .315, 13 homers, 51 runs driven in.
Berry 3 for 5 lifetime against Terry Mulholland.
Chase the high fastball. 1-1.
Let's just hope that they keep swinging at fastballs up there. Sean Berry does have a lot of power. He would just as soon pull the ball, but we've seen him explode the ball to right center on occasion.
A ball and a strike to Berry. They are through 6 innings in Atlanta. Braves 5, Mets 1. Dennis Martinez is pitching for Atlanta now. Greg Maddux started for the Braves. 2 balls and a strike. 2-2.
Terry is crowding all of the right-handers, and he's making sure that he keeps that ball right in on their fists.
So a lot of thumb burgers early on, and that's a good idea. Don't let these big, strong Astros get their arms out over the middle of the plate, because they will take you deep. 2-2, bases empty. Struck him out. Wow, he struck out 4 through 2 innings. After 2, Terry Mulholland and the Cubs lead the Astros 1-0.
He hasn't been able to throw him a breaking ball for a strike yet. The 2 strikes he got in the first at bat were both fastballs upstairs that McGuire couldn't catch up with. 1 ball, no strikes. This is one of the few teams that does not employ the infield shift against the pull hitter McGuire, who on August 20th in the first game of a doubleheader at New York took Willie Blair deep for his 50th home run. First man ever to do it 3 years in a row. Obviously, he's gone way beyond 50. And the 1-1 pitch. There's the drive. Left field. See you later. 69.
They came to see if he could do it one more day, and as usual for the St. Louis fans, Mark McGwire delivers.
Think about what he and Sammy have done this year, and 70 does sound like a nice round number, and maybe Sammy can pop a couple of them here. Mark McGwire has hit a solo home run in St. Louis to put the Cardinals in front 3-2. That's amazing. Here's Grace, and he looks at ball one.
And on that shot behind Mark Grace, we have Leonard Coleman, the president of the National League, and we have Drayton McClain, the owner of these Astros.
And a breaking ball for a strike evens the count.
And there is a look at Drayton McClain with the president to his right.
That's inside. 2 balls and a strike. Well, you have to tip your cap to Drayton McClain. He bought this Astro team. He bought the Astrodome. They've suffered a lot of financial losses here. He's kept the team together. They made the commitment to go out and get Randy Johnson. It's paid off in huge crowds. It's paid off in a Central Division championship. They're going to get a new ballpark. And this team's going to be a powerhouse in this division for many years to come.
And the
especially if they sign that guy.
The question is, where will the Randy Johnson traveling road show end?
I'm going to guess it's going to stay right here. The pitch. Strike 3 called, and Grace knew it. He was looking for something else. 2 down.
I talked with Leonard Coleman before the game, and he said to pass along there's a couple of distinguished umpires going to retire, and that's Harry Wendelstedt and Jim Quick, and they will be retiring after this season, and they will work for Leonard Coleman evaluating umpires.
And another standing ovation for Sammy Sosa. McGwire's hit 69. Sosa's hit 66 on the year. Bases empty. 2 men out. The pitch. And a breaking ball taken for a strike.
The one big difference after today's game, Mark McGwire's going home. Sammy is hoping and praying that the Cubs go to the postseason.
The 0-1 is high. Mets threatening now in Atlanta. They've cut it to 5-2. They have runners first and third with 1 out and Mike Piazza in the batter's box. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch. He skipped out of the way. It's 2-1. Crowd booing. They want to see Sammy light up the scoreboard here. The 2-1. It's 2-2.
That's pretty good changeup, and he kept it in a good spot. Out away. The disparity is what fools you. He throws a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Goes anywhere from about 86 to 93. And that changeup at 82, and it was low and away in a good spot.
So Sammy with an even count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here it comes. He just missed. Wow, 3-2. Mike Piazza just struck out, by the way.
There's a lot of cameramen around, but there's a lot of people with flashes. They're going out all over center field. I'm not sure if that's not distracting.
It's got to be. Here comes the 3-2. Struck him out. And the inning's over. 3 up, 3 down for the Cubs in the third. We go to the bottom half. Still 1-0 Cub lead in Houston.
You don't mind it.
One pitch. Joe Buck, take it away.
Now the 1-1. Into left field. Back at the track at the wall. Historic number 69.
That on a hanging breaking ball. Number 69 for Mark McGwire. Back to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
His 4th touchdown pass, and what a story that is. Mays made the touchdown catch.
Yeah, Brett Favre made that throw. Mays was falling down, and you see that signal he gave there at the end. That's the thing that Mike Holmgren says, you know, I like everything about him. I just wish he'd cut that showboating down a little.
That'll come back to haunt him.
But you know, but the pass protection has really been good. I mean, a lot of this has to go to the offensive line, a lot of it to Brett Favre, and then a lot of it to his receivers for making some great catches and getting open.
Back in our studios here in Chicago, what happened moments ago in St. Louis. Mark McGwire facing Mike Thurman in the Expos, bidding for home run number 69. Here it is.
Now the 1-1. Into left field. Back at the track at the wall. Historic number 69.
So McGwire now with 69, Sosa 66, but the Cubs still in action against Houston. And let's go back to the Astrodome now and join the crew.
Okay, thank you very much. Ricky Gutierrez with a base hit here in the third inning on an 0-1 pitch. That's the first Houston hit of the ball game, and the tying runs aboard here in their half of the third inning in a 1-0 game.
From the left field camera, we'll take a look at Ricky Gutierrez, who breaks up the no-hitter in perfect game. And Ricky has a tendency to stray off the bag. Terry Mulholland, you know, will be keeping him close. And this is a real good hit-and-run situation if you're Larry Dierker. But I'm not sure he's going to employ it. For him, this game means very little.
Osmus from Dartmouth takes a strike. It's 0-1. There you see his numbers on the year.
He's also grounded into 18 double plays, despite the fact that probably Jason Kendall and Brad Osmus are the two fastest running catchers in the National League.
Short lead at first. The pitch floats upstairs. John Rocker now pitching for Atlanta and facing former Cub Brian McRae. It's a 5-2 game in favor of the Braves. Mets batting in the top of the seventh. Runners first and third, and 2 men out.
Osmus has always hit Terry Mulholland well, but Terry has pretty good stuff today.
A ball and a strike. The runner doesn't go. The pitch cut on, fouled away. Giants failed to score in the top of the first in Colorado. There's one out in the bottom of the first inning. Nathy Perez batting against Kirk Reeder. Here it's 1-0 in favor of the Cubs. Astros have a runner at first and nobody out. We're in the home half of the third inning. Mulholland steps off and sends Gutierrez back to the bag. Well, a lot of folks disdained the wild card. Didn't like it. Thought it was a real bad idea. It's turned out to be a very good idea this year. For without it, the Mets, the Cubs, and Giants would have had nothing to play for. The Boston Red Sox would have had nothing to play for.
I said from the beginning, Chip, that anything that lends more excitement for the final stages of the baseball season has to be good for the game. And that certainly is what the wild card affords a lot of different teams.
That just missed inside. It's 2-2.
With no wild card, obviously New York, Cleveland, Atlanta, Houston, and San Diego just dominated, and then the rest of the teams, playing for pride the rest of the way in personal statistics. With the wild card, it's become an astounding last couple of weeks.
The pitch. Line drive hit toward right. Sammy on the run, still chugging, can't get there. It'll drop in front of him. Runners first and third now with nobody out. And Mike Hampton, the Houston pitcher, is due.
Mike Hampton is an excellent hitting pitcher. Not good, excellent. Osmus catches a break. This one just floats into no man's land in right field. For the moment, Gutierrez had to hold up, waiting to see if it would drop, but it bounced so high that he was able to coast into third. Runners at the corners, nobody out, and again a world of possibilities because Hampton's hitting .267. Pretty impressive.
And 4 doubles on the year.
It also has 6 sacrifices, and you'd think they probably would do that in this situation.
So let's see. He's not showing punt. He's swinging away and fouls it off.
Mike Pavich, the coach at third, former Major League player, and a pretty pesky hitter in his day. And the man at first, a beloved character here in Houston, Jose Cruz.
The 0-1. Swing and a miss. 0-2. And you got to say his name right. Jose Cruz. That's how they say it down here. His son, of course, plays for Toronto. Hampton down 2 strikes. Good news in Atlanta. Brian McRae just struck out. Colorado has a runner at first with 2 outs at Coors Field, and Dante Bichette in the batter's box. A strikeout would be real nice right here. 0-2 to Hampton. Thank you very much. 1 away. 5 strikeouts for Mulholland. Runners first and third, 1 away, and here is Craig Biggio.
Despite the real good speed that Biggio possesses, he has grounded into 10 double plays this year. But he is one tough customer, especially in the clutch. So a tough assignment for Terry Mulholland. The infield now playing back. They're at double play depth, looking for 2 to get the Cubs out of the inning.
Terry stretches and fires inside, ball 1. Terry living on that inner half of the plate in the first 2 innings plus of this ball game. We'll see what adjustments the Astros make, if any.
With runners in scoring position, a very lofty .368 batting average for Craig Biggio.
Out in front, 1 ball, 1 strike. I think we've talked about this before, Steve, with this Houston ball club. One of the things that I know you love and admire about Larry Dierker's ball club is the toughness factor that they have. When you have Biggio and Bagwell on your ball club, you're going to out-tough everybody you play, and it just happens to be the case that those guys are 2 of the best players in our league as well. 2-1.
Well, these guys on a daily basis do everything that it takes to beat you. In the case of Biggio, he runs so well that he doesn't mind stepping in front of anything inside, and you run the risk of hitting him, which has been done 23 times if you keep throwing the ball in tight, because he doesn't mind sticking that lead elbow out and then trotting to first.
2 balls, 1 strike. Mulholland getting the ball up there in the low 90s. The pitch. Oh, he swung at ball 3 right there, and that's a big break. 2-2.
When Terry cuts that fastball, by cutting it, I mean, it starts probably on the inner portion of the plate, but moves in on the hands of the right-handers. It looks like it's going to be a good pitch. The right-hander comes forward with a bat, and then that ball just saws him off inside. That's the best pitch that Terry has going for him right now.
Oh, for another strikeout right here. 2-2. Runners lead in the corners. Here it comes. Now it's full 3-2.
Well, let's see if they decide if they want to run with Osmus. You would stay out of the double play. Normally, Biggio a pretty tough man to fan, but this year, as he's looked for more power, his strikeouts have risen dramatically. He's fanned 111 times, and for him, that's a huge total.
112 would be real nice. 3-2. The runner leads from first, doesn't go. The pitch, swing and a miss. Oh, baby, 2 down. He just rushed a 91-mile-an-hour fastball up in his eyes, and Biggio couldn't lay off, and now it takes a 2-out Houston hit to tie the game.
Service wants it inside. Terry gets it out over the plate, but still throws it by Craig Biggio. From high overhead, we'll show you a ball that split the middle of the plate. And Terry Mulholland has done in Biggio twice on strikes. I don't think Biggio can believe that particular at bat.
So Terry has struck out 6. And Hidalgo is the final Houston hope. They had him first and third, nobody out. They stay there. A little bloop, shallow right's going to tie the game. Osmus on his way to third. He'll get the red light. And Sammy flips the relay back in. 1-1 ball game on a flare into right field.
RBI number 34 for Richard Hidalgo. That's just a case of some bad luck. Mulholland makes a good pitch, gets 2 big strikeouts, looks like he's on the verge of getting out of it, and lo and behold, on the inside fastball, an inside-out swing, a little looper to right, and it ties the game. RBI 34, and now you have to face one of their better hitters, Derek Bell.
So it's a 1-1 game here in the 3rd inning. First and third, 2 outs for Bell. He struck out in the first inning. Derek Bell, with 22 home runs, stands in. The pitch. Here's a strike. 0-1.
You just hope that Hidalgo, who is a very young player, takes some sort of liberties at first base. because Terry can pick him off and get out of the inning. But Jose Cruz just whispered something to him. I don't think they want him to take much of a lead at all.
No balls, 1 strike. Cubs 1, Astros 1. 2 on, 2 out in the third. The pitch. Nasty delivery, 0-2. Boy, his ball really is biting here indoors.
And if you throw it low and in again, then a lot of pressure on Scott's service, because he's got Brad Osmus, pretty good runner, 90 feet away, representing the go-ahead run. I'm thinking with Bell, you got him 0-2. Throw some face-high fastballs, make him tantalizing. He won't catch up to him up there, and you can throw it by him.
0-2. Let's see if that's what Terry has in mind here. The pitch. Breaking ball struck him out. He strikes out the side again. Mulholland has retired 7 Astros on strikes. He scatters 3 hits in the inning, but he does surrender the lead. It's 1-1 heading to the Cubs' 4th.
Randy and Monica at number 10 with The Boy Is Mine.
Woo! Hey! Go, girl!
Oh, space.
Takes us back to the gutsy performance turned in by Terry Mulholland in his last start Tuesday in Milwaukee. Mo went 8 innings, striking out 4 and getting some great defense behind him for his 3rd Cub win as a starter. A great outing by Terry Mulholland in a clutch must-win situation. Today's Discover Card payback playback. 1-1 game after 3. To the 4th we go. It's Glen Allen Hill, Gary Gaetti, and Mickey Morandini. A 1-1 ball game. Hill hit into a double play his first time up. Cubs were threatening to put a crooked number on that scoreboard, but Hill hit a one-hopper back to Mike Hampton. He speared it and started the 1-6-3 inning-ending double play.
The Braves have gotten that run back. They lead now 6-2.
Eddie Perez with an RBI double in the 7th inning.
Trying to put an end to the Mets' misery.
1-1. 1-2.
And the Mets know a loss and they go home. End of story. No miracles. And even if they do win, odds are still fairly slim, but they would have hope.
1-2 to Glen Allen. A roller foul past third. Giants have a runner at second. 2 men out in Colorado. Brian Johnson is facing Jamie Wright. That game scoreless after 1. Here it's 1-1 in the 4th.
Henry Rodriguez might still play a pretty big part in this one if they go to their right-handers in the bullpen.
I don't mind the right-handers, but I don't want to see Mr. Wagner. The pitch. He chased a high pitch and strikes out. That's 4 of those for Hampton.
Well, if you see Wagner, it's because they've got the lead.
Exactly.
So let's see Wagner in the postseason. As Glen Allen Hill goes down on strikes. This is a high breaking ball. Actually, it's a hanging slider, but it's hung so high that Glen Allen Hill cannot catch up to it. And sometimes breaking pitches that don't break are equally as effective, especially if they hang up and out of the strike zone.
So Gary Gaetti is the Cub batter. He singled in the 2nd and was left stranded. Let me ask you a question about the gamesmanship aspect of these final games. The Astros know they have very little to play for here. They're tuning up Hampton. They see that the Mets are getting clobbered by Atlanta. How long do they go with their A-line players here?
I think they go all the way. I think for the integrity of the game, that's what you do. And the one thing that Larry Dierker has said this entire series, he gave a lot of time off when they clinched early last year. And his team came out flat in the playoffs. That's what he wants to avoid this year. And we've seen their best in both of these games.
Gaetti hits a shot toward third. Barry backs up. Good stab. High throw, but Bagwell to the inside portion of the bag makes the grab. And there are 2 men out.
Well, it is adventuresome with Sean Barry at third. He's got pretty decent hands, but his arm has given him problems throughout his career. And he's got the long throw across the diamond. So you see the shift of weight by Bagwell as he goes into foul territory to make that play.
So Hampton set down 6 straight men, and Mickey Morandini the batter. Mickey fly to center his first time and still looks for his first career hit against the Astro left-hander. Mike Hampton started his career in the Mariners organization.
I told Mickey a bunt up the right side would be a good play because Hampton falls off the mound to the left side.
2 balls, no strikes. Mariners traded Hampton to the Astros for Eric Anthony and Mike Felder.
That worked out very well for that Seattle bunch.
2-0. Well, the Mariners have been searching for a left fielder about as long as the Cubs have been searching for a third baseman. And Eric Gregg couldn't make the play. And the crowd lets him hear it.
Randy Johnson, Kerry Wood, both fireballers, both with big strikeout totals. And we will probably see Kerry if we get far enough in the playoffs.
2 balls and a strike to Mickey. The pitch is high, 3-1. Scott Service waiting on deck. Giants failed to score in the second.
Mickey knows he's going to see a fastball here, and that's when the lefty-lefty advantage evens out.
And he took it for a ball. So a 2-out walk to Morandini. That is the second one of those Hampton has issued, and now Scott Service, the Cub batter, will do so here in the 4th inning.
Mickey feels that hitting in the 2 spot this year ahead of both Grace and Sosa, he couldn't run quite as much as he'd wanted to. He's an excellent base stealer. He's stolen 13 bases, been caught just 1 time. But he feels in a different spot he could probably steal 30 bases without a great deal of difficulty. This might be a time when you might want to guess and run with him.
Pretty good lead, not going this time. Service whacks away at the first pitch, grounds to the shortstop. He'll flip and it's dropped. Everybody's safe. Oh, baby, Biggio dropped it.
Well, he
may have thought there was a double play in order. There wasn't.
Well, that's exactly what happened. All he has to do is catch it and stand on the bag. Biggio lost track of the outs. And here you see a great player making just a terrible mental mistake. Biggio was looking to throw this ball to first base. There are 2 outs, Craig. That is most embarrassing for an excellent player. And watch it again. That should be the inning. Instead, the Cubs have a break for Terry Mulholland,
who walked his first time up. A hit could mean a run. Swing and a miss. News out of the American League. Shane Spencer has done it again. He just hit a grand slam for the Yankees.
I like his chances of being added to the playoff roster for those Yankees.
7 home runs, 20 driven in his last 8-9 games. Is that possible? 0-2. Unbelievable.
It's very possible.
So Terry will have to protect the plate here. No balls, 2 strikes. Cubs 1, Astros 1. 2 on, 2 out. Lefty against righty. The pitch sails away.
If we can take advantage of that rare mental mistake on the part of Craig Biggio, it could bode well for the rest of this endeavor. Not one of Biggio's better days. A couple of strikeouts and losing track of the outs in an inning.
Well, let's not get him too fired up, because he can single-handedly beat you if it comes to it. The 1-2 almost hit him. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The last time he walked Terry Mulholland and set up a possibility for Lance Johnson. Maybe Hampton's just afraid of the potent bat of Terry Mulholland.
On the words of the former Astro Joaquin Andujar, you never know. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out. Cubs 1, Astros 1. Terry ready. Here it comes. Good cut, and he stays alive.
Well, for Terry Mulholland, you got to shorten up on your swing. Just try to put the ball in play. A little pressure on this Houston defense.
Hampton taking a page out of Mulholland's pitching guide. Everything in on his hands. Let's see if he can make a mistake here in the Cubs' 4th. 2 on, 2 outs. The 2-2. Swung line right center field. That ball is over the glove of Hidalgo. 1-run scores. Here comes Service around third. He's got the green light. Mulholland has doubled home 2, and the Cubs have the lead.
Terry Mulholland with RBIs 2 and 3. Mulholland helping himself with a rocket to center field. It was not well played by Hidalgo. Biggio opens the door. The Cubs come storming through, and they've got a 2-run lead.
So Terry Mulholland puts the Cubs back in front. Lance Johnson takes a strike. It's 3-1 in favor of the Cubs, and this ball was really tattooed.
Mulholland gets it up in the zone, and Hidalgo just takes a bad angle to the ball. I don't think he realized it was hit as hard as it was. But that was a rocket. And the Cubs have the 2-run lead, courtesy of some porous defense on the part of the Astros.
Yeah, the Biggio dropped ball at second really helped the Cubs here. Cubs 3, Astros 1. The stretch and the pitch. Skips up there. Osmus knocked it down. Jose Hernandez waiting on deck. Mulholland got a pitch. Chest high, and he ripped it into center field. Biggio lost track of the number of outs. He dropped an easy play at second, and the Cubs take advantage. What you hope a good team will do. 2 balls and a strike to Lance. He looks for his first hit of the day. The pitch. Low and away. It's 3-1. Boy, Hampton really nibbling out there.
It was an error in the first inning when the Cubs scored their first run, and an error here in the 4th inning when the Cubs scored their next 2. Defensive mistakes have led to every one of the Cubs' runs.
A little roller to the right side. Bagwell, close play, but he got him at first. And the inning is over. The Cubs, though, get 2 runs, a walk in air, and a double by Mulholland to take a 3-1 lead after 3.5. Too happy. Craig Biggio isn't too happy. He's up the runway doing a little remodeling as we speak. His error allowed Mulholland to hit, and he provided the 2-run scoring double to put the Cubs in front.
It wasn't the physical aspect of the error, but the mental aspect of the error that I'm sure has infuriated Biggio. But that's good,
because it means the Cubs have the lead as Jeff Bagwell hits. He flied out his first time up. Cubs 3, Astros 2. In Colorado. The Giants 1 ball. Ball 1 strike. Three balls and a strike. What? The Ferguson-Jenkins era when guys made a living on the inner half of the plate.
I think many of the guys are kind of unsure of their control on a given pitch.
3-1. He lost him. Leadoff walk.
See, Chip, inside, if you are a pitcher who throws inside a lot, there is very little room for error. And the good pitch is really 3 or 4 inches inside, not on the inside corner. And a lot of guys realize if they miss in there, well, it could turn into a home run. In this game,
so few of today's pitchers show a willingness to pitch inside. I guess that's one of the biggest criticisms of the game now, is that unlike your era, the Bob Gibson era, the Ferguson-Jenkins era, when guys made a living on the inner half of the plate.
I think many of the guys are kind of unsure of their control on a given pitch.
3-1. He lost him. Leadoff walk.
See, Chip, inside, if you are a pitcher who throws inside a lot, there is very little room for error. And the good pitch is really 3 or 4 inches inside, not on the inside corner. And a lot of guys realize if they miss in there, well, it could turn into a home run. In this case, Terry Mulholland did indeed miss in there. And now he's got the leadoff walk.
And 2, when you have guys like a Barry Bonds, like a Craig Biggio, like a Jeff Bagwell, all armored up and hanging out over the plate. Mo Vaughn, another example. It's awfully tough to have confidence when they're hanging out there and they can turn so very quickly on that inside pitch.
Jason Kendall, another guy who doesn't mind getting hit.
So the tying runs in the batter's box, perhaps. It's Moises Alou, and he looks at a ball.
He's grounded into 13 double plays this year. And on this very quick artificial surface, even guys who run well will ground into a lot of double plays. because if it's hit right at anybody, it becomes a fairly easy 2.
Alu grounded to third his first time up. One of those would be real nice here. Bagwell short lead. The stretch and the pitcher roller is foul. Marvin Bernard got a leadoff walk in the third inning for the Giants. That game scoreless in the third. Man, there's nothing quite like excitement on the final day of the season. And we're delighted you're with us wherever you may be. Hopeful that the Cubs can hold up their end of the bargain and win today to have a chance to play tomorrow and beyond. The 1-1. Line drive right field. That'll drop for a hit. Sammy over quickly. Plays it on a hop. No advance by Bagwell. First and second. Nobody out.
Unfortunately, that ball was hit so hard that Bagwell couldn't even think about going to third on the Sammy Sosa arm. Sammy right there to catch it on a hop, and now they're going to talk about what they want to do and how they want to defend this situation. Moises Alou reaches down, drives it into right field. Sammy right there on the hop, and Bagwell was frozen at second.
Barry is hit into 8 double plays. Barry has 1 sacrifice.
I would be amazed if they bunted with him here. Here's a guy that hasn't bunted all year, and if you do bunt, you run the risk of him bunting into a double play.
Good news in Atlanta. Hopefully good news forthcoming in Colorado. Marvin Bernard has advanced to second on a passed ball. In Colorado, the pitch is a strike. Barry showed no signs of bunting, and Mark McGwire is batting for the Cardinals. All kinds of stuff going on. Feel like a traffic cop here today.
Well, if you missed it earlier, Mark McGwire hit number 69.
No balls and a strike to Barry. Runners lead first and second. There's nobody out in the Astros fourth, and Mulholland gets ahead 0-2.
You have to keep a close eye on Bagwell. Friday night he stole third. Turned out to be a very big play. And Bagwell with 19 stolen bases been caught only 7 times. So if you're thinking about keeping this ball down inside in the dirt, you've got to try to shorten up that lead at second, and nobody's paying much attention to Bagwell.
He's got a huge lead all the way out on that carpet. 0-2 to Barry. A long look. Now the pitch. Swung on. High fly ball into center. Lance Johnson's going to catch that. Bagwell thinks about tagging. He will not advance. Harmless fly out to center. And there's one man away. So Barry flies out. He can't advance the runners. And Cubs fans, 1999 Cubs tickets are going to be sure to be going fast. So don't miss out on all the fun for $19.99. For information on season tickets or group sales for next season, call 773-404-CUBS.
Here's the original good man for 2. Ricky Gutierrez has grounded into 19 double plays, including 2 in his first 2 at-bats on Friday night.
But Gutierrez singled his first time up today, and he scored the lone Houston run. Cubs 3, Astros 1. The pitch. Laced foul into the seats, 0-1. Well, it's great to see Dan Roan of our WGN sports staff on hand in the booth today. Dan hopeful of getting splashed with some of the bubbly after the game today. That would mean the Cubs have clinched a playoff berth. But the Giants have none of that. Barry Bonds just doubled home the first run for the Giants. They lead 1-0 in Colorado. The 0-1 here. Strike 2. It's 0-2.
Well, the Cubs know one thing. If they win here today, nothing bad can happen.
Right.
Worst comes to worst, it'll be San Francisco coming to Chicago tomorrow for a playoff game that means everything to both teams. That's the worst that can happen if they win.
No balls, 2 strikes to Gutierrez. The runners lead at first and second. Terry stretches. He fires, and he missed. And that playoff game, should it happen, would air right here on WGN. So as soon as we know who will be playing whom and where and when, we'll let you know. For we don't know yet ourselves.
Scenarios abounding with every passing pitch and inning.
But we wouldn't have it any other way. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Gutierrez. And again, he fouls it away.
This Just a nice little chopper in the infield, and you get two, and you get out of it.
We'll show you that play with Rich King in just a moment. The Barry Bonds double. Here it's Cubs leading 3-1. The 1-2 to Gutierrez. Bouncing ball hit to the shortstop. Second base one. Relay to first. Is in time. Double play. And the inning is over. No runs, one hit, one left. We're through 4. Cubs still have a 3-1 lead.
Chicago Cubs. Our studios in Chicago. Well, bad news from Coors Field in Colorado and Denver as the Giants have taken the lead. There's Barry Bonds. Doubles down the right field line, scoring Marvin Bernard. Giants on top now by a score of 1-0 of Jamie Wright and the Rockies. That game now in the third inning there at Coors Field. Back to Chip and Steve in Houston, Texas for more Cubs baseball.
Our thanks to Rich King in our studios back in Chicago with Steve Stone, Chip Carey. We go to the 5th. Cubs enjoy a 3-1 lead, seeking their 90th win of the year. And former Cub Joe Carter is on fire, folks. He just hit a 2-run homer for the Giants. And they now enjoy a 3-0 lead over Colorado.
Still a long way to go in that ballpark.
1 ball, 1 strike to Jose. A roller off Hampton's glove. He'll recover, and he'll make the tag himself. 1 unassisted. Here opening up the 5th inning.
All 3 Cub runs should not have scored. So Hampton, deciding he's going to take matters in his own hands, knocks this one down, and he's able to make the play. Good effort by Hampton, and he's there waiting for Jose to arrive. So the Cubs have been handed a couple of gifts here. They've taken advantage of it. They lead by 2.
Mark Grace stands in. He doubled and he struck out looking. A high pop into shallow left. Out goes Gutierrez. On comes Alou. And very quickly 2 men out. And once again here's Sammy Sosa. Sammy with an RBI single back in the 1st inning. He struck out swinging back in the 3rd. Mark McGwire hit number 69 earlier today for the Cardinals. And Sammy himself has said, I don't care if I hit another home run. I just want to get to the playoffs. Sammy, I'd like to see you hit 3 more and the Cubs get to the playoffs. That would be just perfect. As long as the Cubs take care of business today, that's all that counts for the moment. Hampton goes to work with 2 outs, bases clear, swung on, belted into center field, but it's off the end of the bat. And Hidalgo trots over, puts it away, and a very easy inning comes to a conclusion. Hampton gets 3 outs on 5 pitches, and we're halfway home at the Dome. The Cubs in front, 3-1. Ausmus will lead it off for the Astros in their half of the 5th inning. Cubs lead it 3-1. 2 critical Houston Astro errors have really helped the Cubs today. Terry Mulholland has cruised right along. He's struck out 7 men. He's walked 1. He's given up 4 hits. And he provided the big tie-breaking double that scored 2 runs.
Good article in the paper this morning about Travis Fryman and 1,236 games played without a trip to the postseason. Sammy Sosa has more, 1,238 games played.
Ausmus hits a line drive into right field right at the aforementioned Sammy Sosa. A leadoff single here in the 5th. This lower portion of the order has been tough on Mulholland. So Ausmus 2 out of 2, and Cubs fans get out of the cold and into the fun in sunny Arizona as the Cubs get into gear at spring training. Visit beautiful Mesa, Arizona to watch the Cubs at Hohokam Park. For more information on spring training packages, call 1-800-283-MESA or visit www.cubspringtraining.com.
Now you'd think Hampton would be bunting to move along Ausmus.
He showed bunt, drew the bat back as he took ball 1 across his shoe tops.
We told you about it before, but the Sammy Sosa Charitable Foundation is the organization that is being put together to send food, water, and clothing through the Chicago Cubs to the Dominican Republic. And it's a not-for-profit corporation working alongside the American Red Cross.
There's the bunt. It's a good one. Grace will handle. He'll flip to Mickey covering the bag. Runner to second on the sacrifice. 3-4 the put out. And out of the top of the order we go.
Here is the address for the Sammy Sosa Charitable Foundation. In care of the Chicago Cubs, 1060 West Addison Street. And for more information, call 773-404-CUBS. Help out some people. There were 100,000 people left homeless and about 200 deaths. And there is Sammy helping out, trying to get a lot of those supplies back to his native country.
And our thoughts and prayers go to everyone in the Caribbean, now in the Gulf of Mexico and the southern states here in the United States, as Hurricane George really caused an incredible amount of damage. And we certainly wish everyone well as that storm continues to churn off the coast of Florida, Mississippi, and Alabama. Here's Craig Biggio. He takes the ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Biggio 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts.
Well, you have to worry about him here because nobody is more embarrassed or frustrated than he is over that mental mistake that led to 2 runs. So he becomes a whole lot tougher in this situation.
Fouls it right back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Let's pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
With Steve Stone, Chip Carey, and our entire crew. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch. Swung lined hard right at Hill. A throw back towards second, but Osma's back safely. That ball was hit right on the butt, but it's out, number 2.
Well, Glenn Allen stayed with it, and yesterday we saw Moises Alou miss one a similar way. It does not get up above the lights. It becomes difficult to see. And although Bagwell hit it right on the screws, it was hit right at Glenn Allen Hill, who did a nice job. This is an easy ball to lose, but Glenn Allen Hill stays right with it. And you can see at the last second he makes the catch. That is not an easy play.
And Mr. Biggio looks like he could use a hug right now. He's 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts, a line out, and a big embarrassing defensive lapse. Here's Hidalgo, the center fielder. He takes a quick strike. Runner at second, 2 outs, Cubs by 2.
The Astros really chose between Bobby Abreu and Richard Hidalgo as to who to expose to that expansion draft. They chose Hidalgo, and they think he's going to be a good player.
No balls and a strike. Well, we know Mr. Abreu very well. He tormented us when the Cubs battled the Phillies. They gave us fits this year. And they're putting together a very, very good young ball club with Glanville, with Rowland. Kurt Schilling reached 300 strikeouts yesterday. So the Phillies are on their way. They still have a ways to go, but they're on their way. The 1-1. That missed, and the count moves into Hidalgo's favor now. Hidalgo hitting .301 on the year. An RBI single his last time up. That was in the 3rd. That tied the game. It was a bloop single, but it counts nonetheless. The pitch. Service a good stop. Now it's 3-1.
Talking about Scott Rowland, he had just an unbelievable year. He's 23 years old. He's hit 31 home runs. He's driven in 110. Coming on the heels of his Rookie of the Year season, there was nothing even resembling a sophomore jinx. That young man is going to be a great player.
Three balls, 1 strike. Runner at second, 2 outs. Mulholland ready. Here it is. Lined into the seats. Look out, folks. That was a bullet.
It went right at one of the vendors. And let's hope that everybody's okay, because that was rifled over the Cub dugout.
So everyone in the crowd is hushed. Hopefully that young man's going to be okay. Scary sight at the Dome. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runner leads at second. That's Brad Ausmus.
Well, cut that fastball in on his hands, and you got a pretty good shot at getting it.
Foul back to the screen. Colorado got a leadoff double in the bottom of the 3rd, but failed to score. They go to the 4th inning now. Giants 3, Rockies nothing.
I'd love to see this inning end right here with Hidalgo, because you've got Derek Bell, a strikeout victim twice, but always a dangerous hitter, ready to go in the on-deck circle.
They go to the 9th in Atlanta. Braves 7, Mets 2. Mets 3 outs away from elimination. And a base on balls to Hidalgo puts runners first and second, with the go-ahead run now coming to the plate in the presence of Derek Bell, who has struck out twice.
Bell drove in just 71 runs last year. He's already got 108, so it's been a banner year for him. He was talking with Leonard Coleman before the game about outside corners and how sometimes they get a little bigger for those Atlanta pitchers. He says, we got to do something about that. We got to make them get it over the plate.
Doesn't seem to bother him when Shane Reynolds or Randy Johnson's pitching quite as much, does it? Bell looks inside at ball 1.
Oh, he says, well, it doesn't affect me that much because I just take him to right field, but I'm talking about some of the other guys.
Yeah. Derek got to run for office. That was a very wise answer. Well, those Atlanta pitchers certainly have earned the liberties that they're getting, because they hit the glove ridiculously consistently. The pitch fouled off his ankle, and that does not feel good. He already has a sore neck, and now he's got a sore ankle, and that caught him flush.
Right off the instep, right on the left foot. And with Terry Mulholland throwing as many cut fastballs into the right-hand hitters, you see guys with quick bats fouling the ball off that instep and that ankle repeatedly. The agony of defeat for Derek Bell.
Fair. Just fair. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's Terry's pitch. Swung line hard toward right. Sammy on the run. Got a very good jump. And he'll haul it in. And that retires the side. Nothing to it. No runs. 1 hit. 2 men left. It's an official game, and the Cubs officially in front by 2. Favor of the Cubs with Steve Stone. Chip Carey. What a job by Terry Mulholland, not only on that pitcher's mound, but in the batter's box too today.
Well, yesterday it was Mark Clark, a veteran who hasn't had a particularly good year, but he had a brilliant game yesterday. Today it's Terry Mulholland, who has had a good year, but he's also had a good day today.
Yes, he has. An RBI double, a 2 RBI double that broke a 1-1 tie. Terry has shut down this Astro offense, keeping that ball in on their hands in the first 5 innings today.
I'd like to see the Cubs get a few more runs, because these Astros come from behind wins,
yes,
especially in their last at bat, and they made it awfully uncomfortable yesterday.
But today's a new day, and hopefully you're right. The Cubs can add some offense, starting with Glenn Allen Hill. And there's strike 1. Mike Hampton hasn't pitched all that badly for the Astros, but he's on the short end of this ball game, 3-1. He'll rocket right back up the middle, a leadoff single here in the 6th. So he's 1 for 3 today, and that sets it up for Gary Gaetti and Mickey Morandini. That is the 5th Cub hit of the game. The Cubs trying to win 90 games. Who would have thought, Stoney, at the start of this season that it might take 90 or 91 games to win the wild card? Gaetti, a soft fly ball into center. Hidalgo comes charging. He's got it. And there's 1 away.
Well, certainly not me, because last year the Astros won it and didn't get close to 90 games, and they won the division. And this year you thought if you could post 86, 87 wins, you'd have a great shot at the wild card. It has not worked out that way as the Cubs poised to win number 90, and even 90 might not be enough. They might need 91, depending on what happens with the Giants.
Glen Allen Hill leading from first. Mickey Morandini standing in the box. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Bears getting ready to kick off. In about 5 minutes or so, they entertain the Vikings at Soldier Field. Morandini rolls that ball foul. And out of play. For you football fans, here are your winners. Arizona beat St. Louis. Denver crushed Washington. Jacksonville beat Tennessee. Kansas City beat the Eagles. New Orleans beat Indiana in overtime. And Oakland by a point over Dallas, 13-12. 3-1 score here in favor of the Cubs. We're in the 6th. Runner at first, one away. The pitch to Mickey, swung on, hit high in the air, shallow right. Biggio out, Bell in. It'll be Derek, the right fielder, 2 down. Morandini 0 for 2 and 0 for 14 now against Mike Hampton. And Scott Service, the Cubs' last hope here in the 6th.
It was on the ground ball by Scott Service. And Craig Biggio lost track of how many outs there were, tried to make a return throw to first base before he had control of the ball. And then Terry Mulholland, with his offensive heroics, drove in 2. And that is the difference in this game.
Service has scored today. And he takes a quick strike. Atlanta leading the Mets 7-2, 1 out in the 9th. The Mets 2 outs away from elimination. The pitch is fouled off Scott's body, 0-2.
When you take a look at what the Cub pitchers have done with the bat, you'd have to say they had a pretty good year. Kevin Tapani drove home 11. Steve Traxel drove home 8. Terry Mulholland came in hitting .267. That will improve. And Mark Clark. How about Mark Clark with a couple of doubles yesterday?
Get rid of that DH. Who needs it? No balls, 2 strikes to Service. He looks at a fastball, ball 1.
Mark Clark was absolutely brilliant yesterday, saving his best for last. He's thrown so very well against the Astros this year. And in a pressure-packed ball game for the Cubs, Mark Clark came through. And threw just a gem for 8 innings.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Here it comes. Ripped foul. Off the bat of Scott Service. Albert Bell, Stoney, has just hit a 2-run homer for the White Sox. What a year he's had. And nobody talks about the kind of season Albert has had for Chicago.
Well, they're not talking a lot about Greg Vaughn. He's got 49 home runs.
Or Ken Griffey Jr.
Ken Griffey has 56. Driven in 142, I believe. It's been mildly obscured by the home run trace of Big Mac and Sammy Sosa.
A ball and 2 strikes. Here it comes. He just did stay alive.
Well, they got through the top of the 4th. The Giants did not score, but they still hold a 3-0 lead heading into the bottom of the 4th in Colorado.
And it's Castilla, Helton, and Lansing for the Rockies, who trail at 3-0. Joe Carter hit a 2-run homer for the Giants to highlight their offensive output so far today. 1-2, runner at first. The pitch to Scott, bouncing ball up the middle. Biggio will flip to the shortstop in time. They remembered how many outs there were. That was number 3, and the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left after 5.5. Cubs still leading the Astros 3-1.
Nothing much I want to do, oh baby. If you could only see what I've been going through without you. Whenever I'm away from you, baby, there's nothing much I want to do.
Regular day 10 to 6, but then on tape day, you know, like you guys do, it's Just runs fast.
Right.
You know, the thing that I heard about a movie called Carrie, and you don't play the usual John Travolta. You're, are you kinky or weird or what?
Well, I'm always kinky. What this part is, it's a hood, definitely, but it's more, it takes place in the Midwest, so he's definitely got an accent, and he's a little...
Is it a challenge, more of a challenge to you than some of the other things you've done?
Well, it's dramatic, so it's a little more of a challenge right now.
That's a motion picture called Carrie, and when's it come out?
I think this fall.
All right, now there's another project, and you got so many things going on, I can't keep them straight. Is there Bubble in the title?
There's a movie of the week called Boy in the Plastic Bubble, which is totally opposite of Vinnie Barbarino. It's more, you know, young and innocent, that kind of a thing.
Is that going to be here on ABC?
Yeah.
No. Is there any unfulfilled desire in your life? You've done so many things. You've done Broadway, you've done pictures and television and stage work.
No, it's really working out all right. I mean, I've been getting in there all the time. You know,
this song that you introduced here, is this part of an album? Is it in the works?
Yeah, that's the start of it.
Got a title for the album?
Single. Probably John Travolta 2.
Chicago 2, 3, 4.
Especially with Henry up so early in the game, the pitcher spot's not due for 6 more hitters. So maybe Larry Dierker is saying enough for you, Mike. We'll turn it over to the pen and see what happens.
Well, with any kind of defense at all, there would be no runs on the board for the Cubs, and it's most unusual to see the Astros self-destruct.
Well, we'll take them. We'll take as many of them as they want to give us. 1 and 2 to Bagwell. The line to pitch. Even count. Mike Piazza has just popped out, and the New York Mets have been eliminated. 7-2 is your final score in Atlanta. The Braves take care of the Mets. The 2-2 is out of play.
Taking care of the Mets 3 straight times to send Bobby Valentine and his boys home. There are very few managers that have managed close to as many games as Bobby Valentine and never seen postseason.
He's managed in more games since the advent of divisional play than any other manager in baseball without managing in the postseason. That's incredible. And now the count's full 3-2. In fact, there are only 4 other men who have managed in more games than Valentine in baseball history who have not participated in postseason play.
Big Mac just hit number 70. Number 70.
And Bagwell walks. Unbelievable. With a flourish. Here's Alou. Rocket shot to short. Second base 1. Easy double play 2. Now let me ask you this question. With Mark McGwire hitting 70 home runs, is that going to be enough to sway some of the MVP consideration that swayed to Sammy Sosa back toward Mark McGwire? Because that's just an unbelievable number.
Well, I think quite obviously he's going to get a lot of consideration, but there are a lot of people around who have already gone on record, one of them Tony La Russa, saying that Sammy is this year's MVP. It's going to be a very close race, and we have had a history of co-MVPs, Willie Stargell and Keith Hernandez in 1979.
That ball hit toward third. Good play, Gaetti. He digs it out, throws on to first in time. Sean Berry grounds out, and the Cubs are through 6 with a 3-1 lead.
Bill Pito, if the Expos tie it, he might hit 71. For now, 70 sounds pretty good.
All right, Bob, absolutely incredible. Mets and the Braves, meanwhile, possibly Mike Piazza's last at bat as a Met. He's due to become a free agent, of course. Flies out to end the game. Braves beat the Mets. They are eliminated from the wild card chase. They finished the season with 5 straight losses. Out to Colorado, Barry Bonds leading off the inning. He had an RBI double to score the Giants' first run. That's a leadoff triple.
Studios here in Chicago. Moments ago, Mark McGwire bidding for a second homer of the day, fourth of the last 2 days in St. Louis, bidding for number 70.
First and third, 2 out. Field! Number 70! How much more can you give us, Big Mac? Number 70!
Absolutely amazing. Number 70 for Mark McGwire. I mentioned now 4 home runs in his last 2 ball games. He is going out in a big flourish. Let's hope the Cubs can hang on in Houston, though, and win that ball game and get in the playoffs. Back to you, Chip and Steve in the Astrodome.
Well, Sammy Sosa has fallen 4 behind Mark McGwire, and Sammy's obviously pressing. He's only hit 66 home runs this year. He's got some work to do.
He's driven in a big run today.
Yeah, Mark McGwire's hit 70 home runs, and Terry Mulholland's leading things off. And it's looking, folks, like we're going to have a playoff game tomorrow in Chicago, assuming the Cubs hang on here. The Giants are pouring it on in Colorado. It's 4-0 now. Mulholland skies it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes as he opposes Doug Henry.
Doug Henry at 8-2, ERA 3.09, on for the 59th time. He's had some arm problems lately, and Jay Powell came on, took the loss yesterday in a situation where Henry used to be pitching. But Henry lost that position to Powell, and the Cubs took advantage of Powell yesterday.
And that's upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So one thing we know for sure, now that the Mets have been eliminated, the Astros know who their opponent will be. They will face San Diego Tuesday at 3 o'clock in Game 1 of the first round of the National League playoffs.
Terry could use a walk here. Be a nice way to start off this 7th inning.
He's already walked once, and he's doubled home 2. Sharply hit ground ball to the shortstop. Gutierrez slips and falls as he makes the throw. Let's see if he's okay. He is, and Mulholland grounds out for out number 1.
He was almost knocked out by his chain. As he slipped, the chain came up and whacked him right in the face. Looked like an easy play until right there. He does get it across in time, but Ricky having kind of a tough day today.
Yeah, you can see that chain did throw off the balance that you need to play shortstop. And even he's smiling about it. 1 away in the 7th. Top of the Cub order, it's Lance Johnson, a 10-game hitting streak. He's 0-4, his first 3 today. If the Cubs win, we live to see another day. That day could be tomorrow at Wrigley Field. That's assuming the Giants complete their win in Colorado. If that is the case, the game would be televised here on WGN. Steve and I won't be able to do it because of network obligations, but the game will be carried on WGN at a time yet announced. There's a strike. It's 2-1, and we hope you'll forgive us for providing you just piecemeal information, but that's all we've got at the moment. We don't know what time. We don't know who the Giants would start. We do know they'd get to town pretty late. The pitch is flied down the left field line. It might be Mark Gardner who would get the start for the Giants. We do know Steve Traxel would get the scheduled start for the Cubs, and you hope the wind will be howling in for Steve, for that's when he's most effective at home.
There is the man that would be charged with the awesome responsibility of pitching the Cubs to the postseason if the 2 combatants continue to hold on to that lead. Cubs have a 2-run lead. The Giants a 4-run lead, but a very lively park in Colorado.
And the way this Houston team comes back, a 2-run lead is not all that comfortable. You'll take it, but you'd love a couple more runs today. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Johnson sprays that ball out of play. J.T. Snow just hit a grounder to first. Todd Helton kicked it, trying to turn a double play. A run scored for the Giants. They now lead 5-0 in Colorado. And I don't think there's anybody out yet in that San Francisco 5th.
Steve Fraxel at home has been awfully tough, and he'll have to be tough one more time, assuming things hold in both venues.
Payoff pitch. Ground ball to short. Gutierrez unchained. High throw. And Bagwell just did hold the bag.
And a bit venturesome at shortstop today for Ricky Gutierrez.
Well, that's been kind of the rap on him. He'll make the spectacular play for you, but sometimes he loses concentration on the routine ground balls.
He's made 15 errors this year. This was almost 16. Jeff Bagwell just tall enough. About the same size as Steve Garvey was over at first base. You like those big first basemen so you can throw the ball all over.
Oh, man. Jose Hernandez fouls it away. He reached on a Gutierrez error in the first, scored the Cubs' first run. Has since grounded to short and bounced out to the pitcher.
I used to love to see Mark Grace on a daily basis when Sean Dunston's arm was really great and he would be throwing the ball everywhere. And Mark Grace never knew where to set up because the ball could be literally anywhere, and he knew that it was getting over there in a hurry.
Just react, baby. All you can do. So the Cubs leading here 3-1. We're in the top half of the seventh. The pitch. Bouncing ball up the middle, a base hit. Well, it's always a treat when you come to the Dome to enjoy the seventh inning stretch here. Everyone from high and low really gets into the festivities in between the top and bottom half of the seventh.
Jose keeps it alive, taking one right back up the middle. So he's 1 for 4. Keeps it alive for Mark Grace, and if Mark Grace can keep it alive, Sammy's in the on-deck circle.
But I think they're trying to change the words to the song to Bribe Me with Peanuts and Cracker Jack. Instead of just buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. Runner at first with 2 outs. Cubs by a 3-1 tally. Here's Grace. The stretch, the pitch. Swung, hit hard. Ole, what a play at first. Bagwell caught that ball before it caught him. And the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Let's enjoy the seventh inning stretch from the Astrodome with the Cubs in front.
People smile and tell.
It's 3-1 as we head to the home half of the seventh inning. The lower third of the order is due up against Terry Mulholland, and this is the portion of the order that's given him the most trouble. Gutierrez has a hit. Brad Ausmus has 2 hits.
And then you're going to see a pinch hitter for Doug Henry, and the bullpen up and going for the Astros.
A ground ball hit to short. Jose's got it. He gloves, he grabs, he guns. He got him on away. Well, as you look at this Houston team, do you see, Steve, any apparent weaknesses that they have? Obviously, their strength is their starting rotation and the incredible balance that their offense has. They've scored more runs than anybody else. They can steal bases, they can hit home runs, and they can shut you down with great starting pitching.
Well, I think that anybody who's watched this season will tell you that the Atlanta Braves were awfully tough and have the experience. But if you had your choice, you wouldn't want to play the Houston Astros right now.
And the wild card obviously is Randy Johnson. Ausmus hits a fly ball deep toward left. Glenn Allen Hill plays it off the wall. It bounces over his head. Ausmus is 3 out of 3 with 2 singles and a double.
Brad Ausmus has always killed Terry Mulholland. He came in 5 for 11, hitting .455. He now is 8 for 14 with his 3 for 3 today. And now we're going to see Inky. Pete Incaviglia. This one goes back over the head of Glenn Allen Hill. Would have been a double anyway. And Ausmus, 2 runs down, doesn't want to gamble, so he stays at second. Glenn Allen Hill gets trapped in a little too close to the wall, but he went back thinking he was going to be able to make a play. And he didn't have much of a shot as that one hit high off the scoreboard. So here comes Pete Incaviglia. And that sends Scott Service to the mound. That's going to send the bullpen to work with Matt Karshner. As not only do you have Inky, but then you go to the top with Biggio, Hidalgo, Bell, and Bagwell. They're awfully tough at the top of this order, but the top of the order is where Terry Mulholland has been at his best today.
And again, you have to be concerned with these Astros. They have 40 comeback wins, including 10 of them after trailing after 8 innings this year. So it's a 3-1 game. Mulholland in control, but the tying run again at the plate as Karchner gets ready in a hurry.
Incaviglia hitting just 133.
And hasn't done much as a pinch hitter, and I would imagine they have a decision to make about this guy as to whether he'll make their postseason roster or not.
Well, he has prodigious power. There's no doubt about that, despite the fact he has yet to homer. He did hit one high off the wall in a pinch hitting role earlier this year.
Cubs 3, Astros 1. We're in the 7th. Mulholland's delivery. He dances inside, 2-0. Biggio, Hidalgo, and Bell are due next. Terry Mulholland has given up 6 safeties. He's walked 3. He struck out 7 on the day. Hasn't struck a man out, however, since our 3rd inning. One here would be real nice.
I'd like to see him keep the ball away from Incaviglia and force him to try to hit the ball to right field.
2 balls, no strikes. The runner leads at second. The pitch. Swung, hit high in the air, deep right center. Lance Johnson's got a track. He's got it. Tagging from second, moving over to third is Osmus. A long fly out. It's out number 2.
Well, that's a place to stay. You want Incaviglia to have to drive it the opposite way to get it out. So now you've got Biggio. And he is the reason the Cubs have the 2-run lead. He hit a rocket last time up, but hit it right at Glen Allen Hill. And he's 0 for 3 today.
Biggio has struck out twice. He's lined out once. A 3-1 game. A big run for the Astros at third now with 2 outs in the 7th. Giants crushing Colorado 5-0, and they have the bases loaded again. The pitch. Line. Morandini speared it from his knees. He got it. What a play. Folks, send that Gold Glove to Wrigley Field for second baseman because Mickey Morandini really deserves it. Biggio robbed again, and the Cubs lead stays 3-1. But if he does not win the Gold Glove at second base this year in the National League, they ought to get rid of the award. He's made only 4 errors all year, and that one might have been certainly a run saver and maybe a game and momentum saver as well, as he robs his counterpart Craig Biggio.
This is such a big play because you got Biggio on a 3-2 game if Mickey doesn't come up and spear this one. It's a one-hop rocket. Mickey from his knees gets the out at first base. The Cubs still with a 2-run lead in place. And Mickey Morandini, who's had a magnificent year defensively, deserves the Gold Glove certainly when you consider that all year long, and he's played in 153 games, he's made just 5 errors. Craig Biggio, on the other hand, has made 14. Brett Boone has made at least 9 that we remember. He might have picked up another one. So you'd have to think that Mickey Morandini, unless they have an OU one from last year when Boone made just 2 errors and lost the Gold Glove to Biggio, Mickey Morandini will have a Gold Glove this year.
And 2, you wonder if he's hit enough to earn a Gold Glove. Well, Morandini's hit .297. He's got an 8-home-run season as well. Sosa, first pitch swinging, ground ball up the middle, another big base hit as the Cubs seek some insurance in the 8th. A 2-hit game for Sosa.
Cubs are going to need that insurance because San Francisco is just pasting Colorado. Sammy keyed the rally yesterday with a base hit, and he's trying to do it again today. Takes it right back up the middle. He's 2 for 4. And that batting average will stay comfortably above 300, and Sammy will not catch Mark McGwire, but he will have an MVP season.
And Sammy, all he said again, he said, guy is kind of a prophet. He said, I think Mark McGwire is going to hit more home runs than I will, but I don't care if I hit another home run as long as we get into the playoffs. Well, today he's done his job. He drove home the first Cub run, and And he provides a big insurance runner here in the 8th inning with the Cubs clinging to a 3-1 lead.
Sean Bergman at 12-9 comes on for just the 4th time out of the pen. And he's given up 20 home runs.
Hill, swing and a miss. Again, everything's setting up tomorrow toward a 1-game playoff between the Cubs and the Giants. It would be at Wrigley Field. Our viewers in the greater Chicagoland area will only be able to see it on WGN. Elsewhere around the country, it'll be on ESPN. And still a time to be announced. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Glenn Allen Hill. The bats with a runner at first and nobody out in the 8th inning against Sean Bergman, the 3rd Houston pitcher of the day.
Bergman with 8 wild pitches this year, so Sosa has to watch anything down. Bergman throws a lot of breaking balls. Many of them end up in the dirt, and the Cubs looking for an insurance run. And when they look up on that board and see a 6-0 score at this point, with still plenty of time left, they could certainly use a couple more here.
1-2. Well, I've got bad news. It's 7-0 now. They kicked the extra point.
Well, the Giants have won 9 of their last 10. They have certainly closed with a flourish. And in this wonderful, magical season, it would seem only right that after 162, the Cubs' fate still would not be decided.
Well, it's amazing. They were dead in the water were the Giants. A little roller swinging down the third base line. If it stays fair, that's trouble. Come on, ball, stay fair. Hit the bag. Hit the bag. It's foul.
The ball couldn't hear you from up here.
Well, I'll shout a little louder if you want me to, partner. So Hill fouls down the left field line.
This took a long time to finally roll foul. There's nothing Barry can do. He just has to let it roll, watch the spin, and then pick it up.
So Sammy back to first. The count now 2-2. But the Giants on Monday were 4 games out. They were 5 games back September 17th. They were left for dead. How quickly things have changed. Mostly because the Cubs and Mets could not win winnable ball games.
Well, when they went down to Arizona, lost 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, it looked like the season might be over for the Giants, but Dusty Baker and the Giants have never quit. And now the Mets are going home. And the question is, will both of these lead hold up?
Cubs are up 3-1. Runner at first, nobody out in the 8th. And it's strike 3 called on the outside corner. Bergman strikes out Hill for out number 1. And as Gary Gaetti stands in, we'll remind you that our senior producer director of Cubs baseball is Arnie Harris. Today's game produced by Pete Toma, our associate producer Mark Brady. John Walgren, a contributing producer today. Kim Fields, our coordinating producer, and the executive producer of WGN Sports is Bob Vorwald.
There's a lot of heroes on this Cub team during this season, and one of them is the man at bat, Gary Gaetti, who yesterday was essentially a one-man gang, both with the glove and with the bat. And he's the reason the Cubs are in position to extend this season 1 more game.
Roller behind the plate, foul. Well, I guess if Sammy has a monster game or the Cubs explode here in the 8th or in the 9th, Sammy might get 1 more at bat. Then the debate begins. What if Sammy tomorrow hits 3 home runs?
Well, then he'd be tied at 70 if he hits 1 today. And you can put asterisks or anything you want. 70-70. I don't care how many games.
That'd be fine with me. I think Sammy and the Cubs fans would take the asterisk all day long if he could get to that point. I know I would. The 0-1 to Gary. He broken bat on a check swing foul.
Don't forget one game that Mark McGwire chose to sit out. The game was rained out. It was an official tie, and so there was another game played by St. Louis
against Pittsburgh.
So they had the advantage of essentially playing 163 games. However, it's going to be a tall order to catch Mac with what he's done, and he's still not done yet. He'll probably come to bat again. Nope. He just left the ballgame. They're taking him out. So he's going to be stuck, as they say, on 70.
Yeah, poor guy. He must be tired from running the bases all day long. But man, oh man, what a record. 70 home runs for Mark McGwire. And if that record stands as long as Roger Maris's stands, I'll be 70 years old. That's scary. I hope I make it. The pitch.
If these seasons continue to go like this,
I won't make it.
It's going to be tough to get to 70.
Oh, man, what a year. What a year 1998 has been. So many commentators around the country have talked about this being the greatest season in baseball history. I don't know whether that's the case or not, but I sure know it's been an awful lot of fun. Biggio will handle that one at second. Gaetti pops out.
And he almost doubled Sammy at first, but Sammy got back.
So there are 2 outs for Mickey Morandini.
Now Jeff Blauser loosening up in the pen. And Sammy's saying, you got it there just a little late.
All he had to do was throw in the net, and we would have been in business. So here's Morandini. Mickey is 0 for 2 with a walk. He's happy that Mike Hampton's out of the game. Sammy tries to steal. The throw is terrible into center field, and Sammy, had he not stumbled over the bag, might have had thoughts of taking third, but he does swipe his first base in quite some time.
Stolen base number 18 as Brad Osmus airmails second base. He's got all the best of it. Didn't get a good grip on the ball, and Sammy stealing himself in the scoring position,
where a hit could provide a big insurance run. Morandini ahead in the count. 1 ball, no strikes. 3-1 Cubs. 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. The Astros will have 2, 3, and 4 due up in the bottom half of the frame. 2 balls, no strikes now.
Well, you've got Scott Service in the on-deck circle. And I'm not sure if you're going to let him face Sean Bergman or go to a pinch hitter. There is a literal plethora of left-handed talent and thunder on the Cub bench.
Well, you've got Houston, you've got Henry, you've got Merced, you've got Brant Brown, you have Pedro Valdez and Sandy Martinez. Not too shabby.
You got lefties till the cows come home.
2-0. Inside, it's 3-0. Another right-hander is up in the Astro pen should Bergman encounter further difficulty here in the 8th inning.
They're going to put him on. The very dangerous Mickey Morandini draws an intentional walk. And he does that for the 4th time this year. One of the reasons why he's drawn so very few is quite obviously hitting in the 2 spot most of the season. You're not going to walk him to face either Sosa or Grace very often.
But in this situation, Morandini batting 7th is walked. Good news out of Colorado. Nafi Perez with a 2 RBI scoring triple makes it 7-2 in favor of the Giants. There's still only 1 out in the 5th inning.
Come back, Colorado. That is a team that has come back more than once or twice this year, and in that ballpark, no lead is safe, as we know.
No balls and a strike to Service. One game here in the Cubs 8th. 2 on, 2 out. The pitch floats outside. 1-1. So go you Rockies go. Again, Kirk Reeder, in a report Steve read earlier today, said his elbow's not quite 100%. Well, it's been good enough so far. He's got a 5-run lead. A ball and a strike to Service. Paints the outside corner. Good pitch. 1-2. The Cubs have left 6 on through 7. They've got runners first and second here. Again, the Astros will have Hidalgo, Bell, and Bagwell due up in the 8th. Larry Walker just drove home Perez. It's 7-3. Still one out in the 5th in Colorado. That scoreboard watching is fun now, isn't it? And you gotta love Coors. The pitch is outside. 2-2.
Terry Mulholland in the on-deck circle, but with nobody loosening up in the bullpen, he will undoubtedly go out there for the 8th. He's been awfully tough today. One of the things that he always gives you is he shuts down the running game against a team that runs at will.
2-2 pitch, squib to the shortstop. Flip to second in time, and that retires the side. By the way, Dante Bichette has singled as well, so the Rockies putting it together at home. They trail 7-3 there. Here it's the Cubs by 2. 3-1, bottom of the 8th. Well, it's a good thing we don't have to face Randy Johnson in this series. It's 3-1 in favor of the Cubs as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Here's a look at our Ameritech playbook.
It's Terry Mulholland getting a fastball out over the plate and driving it by Richard Hidalgo. It scored 2 after an error by Biggio, and that's the difference in the game, and that's your Ameritech playbook. So Terry Mulholland, a hero today, and Jose shifts to left field. Jeff Blauser moves in at shortstop, and it's Hidalgo, Bell, and Bagwell, and if anybody gets on, Alou here in the 8th inning.
So a very tough order for Mulholland to work against in the 8th. Again, the Astros a comeback team all year. The pitch is a quick strike. Good news in Colorado. It's 7-3 in favor of the Giants. Runners first and second, 1 out. John Johnstone pitching now against Vinny Castilla at Coors Field. The 0-1 is a roller, foul, past third. The count 0-2 to Hidalgo.
Vinny's been known to hit a lot of dramatic home runs.
I hope he throws him a real hard fastball right down the middle, because I know he can't hit that pitch.
Especially if it's up.
Yeah. Letter high would be perfect. Ball gets away from the Astro bullpen, so a bit of a pause here. 3-1 in favor of the Cubs. And Stoney, what can you say that hasn't been said about Terry Mulholland? It's one thing to talk about wanting to start. It's one thing to go out and back up your words with outstanding performances, and he's done that down the stretch here. The pitch.
Well, with the loss of Kerry Wood, a lot of people felt that that might be the thing that did in the Cubs. It hasn't turned out that way. Yes, you'd love to have had Kerry for some of the big ball games, but Terry Mulholland has been just brilliant.
Line drive hit toward left. It's going to drop and roll to the wall. Jose Hernandez got a late break, couldn't make the play, and a runner at second base leading off the 8th inning. Boy, he was frozen in his tracks, and Hidalgo's aboard.
Well, sometimes we talked about it. If the ball is not a fly ball, if it's a line drive, you lose it in the lights just briefly. I don't think Jose saw this ball all the way. It's kind of a looping line drive. Jose tried to make the play. He did get the late start, but the ball got by him, and now Hidalgo's at second for Bell, Bagwell, Alou, and Barry, and the bullpen up in a hurry for the Cubs. They're nursing a 2-run lead.
So the leadoff man aboard here. Here's Bell. He's 0 for 3 today. Again, as Steve mentioned, kind of pressing. He wants to get to 200 hits. Bell at 197 on the year, and barring a miracle, he won't get it. Swing and a miss, swung late. Vinny Castilla, by the way, just struck out in Colorado. There are 2 men out for the Rockies, who trail by 4. We got our own problems here in Houston, however. A leadoff double by Hidalgo.
And it's Karshner and Heredia loosening up for the Cubs.
No balls and a strike.
Karshner would undoubtedly come in. Heredia is there just in case Larry Dierker has any thoughts of the left-handed pinch hitter.
A la Dave Clark or Phillips or Spires or Everett, who can switch hit.
And Everett's a much more powerful hitter from the left side.
Todd Helton just hit a 3-run homer. Wow.
7-6.
Bouncing ball to second. Big hop for Mickey. Runner to third. One away. And the fans roaring here in Houston. Jeff Bagwell. Bagwell 0 for 1 with a couple of walks. He's the first Houston player ever with 4 30-plus homer years. The pitch is inside, ball 1.
Well, the infield is back. They're going to concede the run and try to stay out of the big inning. It's 7-6 in Colorado.
It could be the day, but still work to be done here. 2 balls, no strikes. The Giants were ahead 7-0. The Rockies have scored 6 times in the 5th. They're down a run. Here the Cubs are up 2, 3-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Bagwell represents the tying run. The Cub pen getting ready. 2 balls, no strikes. Be careful. Swing and a rocket foul past third. It's 2-1.
Well, they got out of the 5th inning, but the Colorado Rockies put 6 on the board to close within 1.
You gotta love arena baseball.
And it's Bonds, Kent, and Carter coming up in the 6th, but it's still a 1-run game.
You don't gotta love that. 2 balls and a strike. We're in the 8th. The crowd roaring. The pitch is cut on and missed. It's 2-2. Well, again, we'll be with you should the Cubs win this ball game to the conclusion of the Colorado Giant game,
which has gotten a whole lot more entertaining. And things about as entertaining as you can get right here in the Dome.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing, ground ball left side through, base hit, run scores, 3-2. Bagwell, what a year, 111 RBI.
And even though you're
Bagwell, what a year, 111 RBI.
And even though you're playing him to pull, and even though there was very little room between Gaetti and Blauser, Bagwell hits it hard enough to get it right there, right by Gaetti. Blauser can't get to it. It's a 1-run game. Phil Regan going to the mound. Now all you have to worry about is Alou and Berry. But Moises grounded into a big double play in the 6th inning.
So while Phil Regan heads to the mound to check on Terry Mulholland, we'll pause momentarily to allow our stations to identify themselves.
Back here in Chicago, good news you mentioned from Colorado. Todd Helton has brought that game a lot closer. Giants had a 7-0 lead, but in the 5th inning, 2 men aboard. Todd Helton rips one deep right center field. It is gone for a 3-run blast. It is now 7-6 after 5. The Rockies right back in the game in the launching pad out there at Coors Field. Let's hope the Cubs can hang on there in Houston. What a day in Major League Baseball. Back to Houston, Texas.
Moises Alou swings and misses the first pitch. He has singled. He's grounded to third. He's hit into a double play. The Cubs have turned 2 twin killings today. Another one would be real nice. 3-0-1. Swung, belted down the left field line, but boy, he was as out in front as you can possibly get. 0-2. Barry Bonds made an out in the Giants game. But now Curtis Leskanic has to deal with Jeff Kent. Then Joe Carter. Runner at first, 1 out. The Astros have drawn a run closer. It's 3-2 in the 8th. The pitch. Swung and popped out of play. Again, the Astros making the Cubs earn the potential playoff game and the potential wild card bid. They've played it very straight today. And the Cubs and Jim Riggleman trying to scratch and claw another game out here in the Dome. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Oh, baby, what a pitch. 2 away. His first strikeout since the 3rd inning.
None bigger than this one. It was a little slider low and in. Moises Alou can't believe he swung at it, but swing at it he did. He goes down on strikes, and the Cubs need 1 more out to stay 1 run up.
And it's Sean Berry here in the 8th. Berry 0 for 3. He is struck out. He's flied out. He's grounded out. Terry Mulholland with a 3-2 lead now. The pitch. Strike called 0-1. The pitch. He just missed inside to even the count. 3-7-0 for the Cubs. 2-8-2 for the Astros. Both errors led to all 3 Cub runs. The stretch, the 1-1. Off-speed fly ball hit shallow left center. Blauser out, Johnson in, can't find it. It'll drop. They're going to wave him. Here comes the throw. It's off target, and the Astros have tied the game.
I don't know why Jeff Blauser held onto the ball. You got to get the ball, and you got to get it in as quickly as you possibly can. Jeff got the ball and held it, and Mike Kubich said, keep on coming. And Jeff Bagwell, a very aggressive base runner, never stopped. There were 2 outs in the inning, and take another look at it. Berry bloops it in. You think that it's going to be 2nd and 3rd. Now watch what happens. You see Blauser now, he holds it. He doesn't let it go. And by the time he gets it back in, the throw way offline. The tying run does indeed score.
And the go-ahead run is now at 2nd base in the 8th. And guess who's up in the Astro pen? It's 3-3.
RBI number 52 for Berry.
So the defensive substitutions here in this inning have not exactly gone the Cubs' way again. A line drive to left field that Jose Hernandez couldn't get a beat on. That went for a double. Berry bloops the ball into shallow left center field in between Blauser and Johnson. Lance playing back, making sure the ball doesn't go over his head. Blauser picked it up, held it, double clutched, and couldn't get the tying run at the plate. Gutierrez ahead in the count, 1-0. The pitch is right through there to even it up.
Gutierrez has been the man that has done very little in this series. And Terry Mulholland has absolutely pitched his heart out here today. He's left it all on the mound, but he finds himself tied.
And a hit could put the Astros in front. And then we would agonize. The 1-1. Here it is. He almost sat down. He swung so hard. 1-2. The Astros have tied it with 2 in the 8th. We've told you all afternoon long about how great this team has been coming from behind all year. Today they've battled back to tie 3-3.
Colorado has gotten the Giants out in their half of the 6th inning. Now they're coming to bat 1 run down.
1-2. It's inside to even the count. Here a double, a grounder to second, an RBI single by Bagwell. Alou struck out. Then Berry bloops a double. That ties the game 3-3. Mulholland spots due up in the top of the 9th. The 2-2. Struck him out, and he did sit down, and that ends the inning. 9 strikeouts for Mulholland, but the Cubs defensively let themselves down again in the 8th inning. 2-run score on 3 hits, and after 8, it's all tied here in Houston. Cubs the lead, perhaps. 3-3 our score. This was the Cubs bench reaction.
Jim Riggleman wanting him to just get rid of the ball. Once you get it, you have to get rid of it. That hesitation allowed Bagwell to score, and we've got a brand new game with Brant Brown coming on to pinch hit, and then to the top of the order with Johnson and Hernandez. The shooter loosening up in the pen in case the Cubs can scratch one across. But now that Brown has been announced, Larry Durka will come out and undoubtedly take Bergman out of the game.
So Bergman went an inning. 1 strikeout, 1 intentional walk.
If you want to make it to the NBA, practice.
Wagner at 4-3, ERA .275, on for the 58th time. And he is a blazer. 96 strikeouts in 59 innings. He has occasional control problems. He has given up 6 home runs. And Matt Mieske will come on to pinch hit before the Cubs move to the top.
So it's Mieske for Brown, who bats for Mulholland, who pitched a great game. The pitch is outside, ball 1. Well, hopefully what will happen to Wagner here is what happened to him against the Mets. Remember the dramatic comebacks that New York mounted against him? Maybe we'll have the same kind of luck today. The pitch is rocketed foul. By the way, Colorado has a man at first with 1 out in the 6th. Rich Rodriguez coming on for the Giants, as they have seen a 7-0 lead get trimmed to 7-6 at Coors Field. If the Cubs win and the Giants lose, the Cubs are in the playoffs. If the Cubs lose and the Giants win, they're in the playoffs. That's right through there, 1-2. If both teams match wins or losses today, there's a 1-game playoff tomorrow in Chicago.
And that fastball at 98 miles an hour. You don't have to get much of it. Just put it in play. Get the head of the bat out, and it will rocket somewhere.
1-2. Breaking ball hit toward short. Gutierrez, good play from his knees. He'll gun him out.
Well, after a tough day all the way around for Ricky Gutierrez, he makes what could be a game saver right there. That's an outstanding effort by Gutierrez. And we've seen him throw guys out from his knees before, but that's a long throw from shortstop when you're on your knees. Great effort, and Mieske bidding for a base hit comes up short.
So to the top of the order we go. Lance Johnson. He is 0 for 4 on the day, trying to keep a long 10-game hit streak alive here. Wagner getting it up there very, very well.
Lance 1 for 2 against Billy Wagner this year.
A 3-3 game in the 9th. Cubs led it 3-1 after 7.5. The pitch. That stays high. 2-1. We'll take a walk and then see if Lance can take off. Maybe get into scoring position for Jose or Mark Grace. But getting on's the hard part. That caught the umpire. Ouch. 2-2.
I've got Mark Hirschbeck flush in the mask. Lance trying to get on, then use that great speed to score the go-ahead run. Blazing fastball, well, right square off the mask of Hirschbeck.
Wow. 2-2. It's high with a fastball. Count moves full. 3-2. Swung on, popped out of play.
Well, just an absolutely brilliant play by J.T. Snow on a rocket down the line, doubles up the Rockies and gets out of the 6th inning with a 1-run lead. That would have tied the ball game.
But it didn't. And it's still a 1-run Giant lead after 6. The 3-2 to Lance. Once again, here she comes. Foul back. Good battle here.
It's not easy to stay alive when it's a lefty-lefty confrontation and the man on the mound is throwing 98 miles an hour. Lance is battling. He represents the go-ahead run, and Rod Beck is ready to go. 3-2. Wagner comes set.
Here it is. He walked it. A one-out walk. Now we'll see how aggressively the Cubs play it here in the ninth. Johnson does have 9 stolen bases on the year.
Well, you have Jose, then you have Mark Grace. And the Cubs needing another base runner to get to Sammy Sosa.
Mark McGwire hit an even 70. Yes, he hit 2 yesterday. He hit 2 today. Here's Jose. The stretch and the pitch. Cut on late. 0-1.
Lance has got to watch the Wagner move to first base. It's not a great move, but it's good enough to get your attention.
No balls, 1 strike. Lance a good lead at first. Not going the pitch. Missed. 1-1. Again, Jose does strike out quite frequently. Second highest total on the Cub team this year. He's 1 for 4 today with a base hit his last time up. Lance leading from first. The 1-1. 1-2.
Can it get any more tense than this? Every game down to the last pitch every day. And if Jim Riggleman doesn't have an ulcer, he's got to have a stomach lined with lead.
It's been incredible. I'll throw to first. Mark Grace would hit next if Jose could avoid the double play. He's hit Wagner reasonably well. Not many at bats against him. We'll take a hit right here, however, on the 1-2 pitch. It's on the way. The runner goes. Pitch, swing and a miss. The throw to second is not in time. Biggio tried the sweep tag. It's a stolen base. Hernandez strikes out. Now Wagner has to get Grace and or Sosa with the go-ahead run at second base and 2 down.
Big stolen base by Lance Johnson. He beats the throw. And he's in a scoring position. Holds onto the bag for dear life. And now a base hit scores him. Come on, Mark.
Fastball is away. How does he hit Wagner? He normally hits lefties very well.
Well, against Wagner, he's 1 for 2.
A hit could mean a run. Good arms in the outfield. Johnson a big lead at second. The stretch. The 1-0. Good cut, and he ripped it foul back.
Well, pretty much if you're Mark Grace, you've got to just tune it up, look for the fastball. You pretty much know you're going to get it. And in the late innings, Mark Grace has been awfully tough.
A ball and a strike. The pitch. Swing, ground ball right side. Bagwell's got it. He'll step on the bag, and we'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The pitcher's spot, and then Biggio. It's 3-3 at the Astrodome.
It's a shame. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out of the old ball. Let's get some run.
But in the end, the song remains the same, and their message is clear. Harry, we'll miss you. Now, let's get some runs.
Today he gave the Cubs another brilliant effort, and were it not for a couple of defensive mini lapses, he might have the lead in this ball game. Instead, it's 3-3. Matt Mieske, who came on to pinch hit, stays in the game to play left field, and Rod Beck comes on for the Cubs to pitch the 9th inning. The best thing that works out is this: Billy Wagner's spot's due up second, and he's going to lead the ball game.
And I think Scott Ellerton loosening up in the pen. So let's get out Brad Ausmus one time. He was 3 for 3 against Terry Mulholland, who was brilliant here today. And it's Dave Clark in the on-deck circle.
Ausmus 3 for 3 today. And Beck fires a strike. How about Rod Beck yesterday? Became the 5th man in Major League history with 50 saves or more. joining Bobby Thigpen, Dennis Eckersley, Randy Myers, and Trevor Hoffman. Osmus, a looping fly ball to right. Sammy charges and has it one down. Boy, it is tough to judge fly balls in this place when they don't get that high in the air. They kind of hang, and the roof, of course, plays a big factor, as do the lights. But Sammy charged and made the play.
Well, fortunately, to the opposite field, you're playing Osmus shallow, and Sammy was able to get a good jump on it and run it down. So Dave Clark will come on to pinch hit. He was the man who caused the controversy yesterday. He stumbled out of the box, avoided the tag of Beck, got hit in the back with the throw. The tying run looked like it was going to score, but it didn't. And there are the two combatants, and they'll hook up here again. Beck went to a first ball, fork ball yesterday.
The pitch. Dances down and in. 1 ball, no strikes. Beck had a funny line. He said, all I know is that I went over, I tagged him, and somebody made an out. Outside. And the Cubs got the win. The 1-0. Oh, strike called. Clark thought it was down and in. He can't believe it.
Well, Clark had a real bad start for this team, but lately he's been awfully hot. And the Cubs remember how good he can be with some late inning heroics. He was one of them.
1 ball, 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the 9th, tied at 3. And Beck misses high. 2-1. You've got Craig Biggio on deck. And with the kind of day he has had, these kinds of innings, these kinds of scenarios terrify Cubs fans. The 2-1. That dances down and in. 3-1.
Now you have to make a very tough pitch to a guy with excellent power to straightaway center field. And Dave Clark is an enormously strong man.
3 balls, 1 strike. 3-3 game. 1 out, bases empty. Here it is. Bouncing ball towards second. Funny hop for Mickey. He'll make the play. That's a big break. Clark grounds out, bases empty, 2 away, and here comes Mr. Biggio.
Looking ahead to the 10th inning for the Cubs, it's Sosa. Most likely a pinch hitter, and then Gaetti, or I think Jeff Blauser in that spot, and then Gary Gaetti.
Giants, by the way, have the bases loaded with 2 outs in the 7th inning. Chuck McElroy's being pulled from that game with the Rockies trailing 7-6.
I'd like to see Rod Beck keep the ball away from Biggio here. His home runs come to left and left center. And that's what he's thinking about right now.
He's 0 for 4. The pitch is a quick strike on the fastball. 0-1. Can it get any more nerve-wracking, any more exciting? They're on their feet here at the Dome. Biggio taking his time. Rod Beck ready. Here comes the 0-1. 0-2.
He stayed away from him twice. And normally you keep Biggio in the ballpark that way. Does have 20 home runs, a high total for a leadoff hitter. And he has had a very rough day today.
0 for 4, 2 strikeouts, a very costly fielding mistake that led to 2 Cub runs. 0-2. The wind, the pitch. It's 1-2.
And Biggio came very close to leaning into that one. He didn't get out of the way all that quickly, and that one almost bounced off him.
Have not heard the attendance today, but there are a bunch of Houstonians at this ballpark. Upwards of 50,000, we presume. The 1-2. Evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, with Hidalgo waiting next. You can understand the care with which Beck works here, for you have a youngster on deck. Tie game, 3-3. Bases clear. 2 men out. Here it Swing and a miss. Inning over. Ice water in the veins of Rod Beck. 3 up, 3 down, and we go to the extra innings. Sosa, Blauser, Gaetti against a new Houston pitcher in a 3-3 game. Reviews, as if the Cubs win, we at least look ahead to play tomorrow. But we've got some work to do still. It's 3-3. To the top of the 10th we go, and Scott Ellerton becomes the new Houston pitcher.
He's got to go right through the heart of the order. Ellerton 1-1, ERA 3.44. On for the 28th time. 2 of them starts. He's a king-size right-hander. Has given up 5 home runs in 55 innings. Fan 53, walked just 19.
And good news in Colorado. Pedro Estacio coming on to work in relief for the first time since April of '97. Got Bill Miller to roll out with the bases loaded. It's a 7-6 game in favor of the Giants, and the 2-3-4 spot due up for the Rockies in a 1-run game.
Perez, Walker, and Bichette, the same group that helped put 6 on the board in the 5th inning. But here it's Sammy against young Scott Ellerton with a chance to put the Cubs on top.
Sammy Sosa has a 2-hit game today. An RBI single in the first made it 1-0 Cubs. A single against Bergman in the 8th. He's 2 for 4. The line, the pitch. Off speed, sails outside, 1-0.
Jeff Blauser in the on-deck circle. Then it'll be Gary Gaetti.
Ellerton, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the men the Mariners asked for in return for Randy Johnson, and Houston said, I don't think so. The pitch. Swung hit a mile high into right center field. Hidalgo over, under, and out. 1 away.
Well, that initial request by Woody Woodward was for Ellerton and Hidalgo. Jerry Hunsinger said nothing doing, but maybe I'll get back to you. And as it turned out, at about 10-12, he called up again and said, I've noticed that you're still with Randy Johnson, so here are the 3 guys I want to give you. And they all came out of the academy they have in Venezuela, and they got some pretty good players, but not on the scale of Hidalgo and Ellerton. So the Cubs now with a couple outs to go, and Blauser and Gaetti. Gary Gaetti, as good a clutch hitter as there is in the game.
Here's Blauser. He swings the first ball and pops that up right side. Bagwell near the Houston dugout, into the Houston dugout. Cannot make the play.
Well, we've seen that a lot. You can do it here, and if you're standing in the middle of that dugout and catch the ball, you're out. So good heads-up play, but Jeff Blauser now stays alive.
And boy, you've got to look alive down in the dugouts here. Obviously, you're very close to the action. You're not really dug out. You're at field level. And balls will come rocketing into those dugouts if you don't have your eyes glued on the game. The 0-1 to Jeff is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's been a rough year for Blauser. He'll be the first to tell you that. He's hitting only .219, and he will have off-season elbow surgery. The pitch is upstairs, 2-1.
Ellerton, 6'7", 240 pounds, out of Lamar, Colorado.
The pitch to Jeff is a strike. The Rockies have their leadoff man on in Colorado in the bottom half of the 7th. Mayfi Perez is aboard on an infield hit, and that sets the table for Walker and Bichette. 2-2 to Blauser. Did it hit him? Nope. It was a foul tip, and it hit the catcher. So Jeff stays alive. It's 2-2. What a game. What a weekend. What a year.
Well, it is only fitting that it continues to go down to the last pitch in every ball game of consequence.
The delivery. Off speed. Strike 3 call. Big breaking ball takes care of Blauser. There are 2 out.
Well, here's one of the reasons why the Cubs are tied with the Rockies. The huge day of Gary Gaetti yesterday. Scored the tying run, drove in the 2 runs that won the ball game. And Mickey Morandini in the on-deck circle if Gary can keep it alive.
Gary 1 for 4 today. The pitch. Breaking ball. That's squibbed up in the middle of the outfield pasture. On comes Hidalgo. He's under it. He's got it. And Ellerton has a very easy top of the 10th. Bottom of the 10th rolls along. Hidalgo, Bell, and Bagwell. It's 3-3. Eighth wonder of the world. The Astrodome in Houston, Texas. It's 3-3. We're in the bottom of the 10th inning now. And the 2, 3, 4 spots are due up for Larry Dierker and the Astros, who are trying to play the role of the spoiler. Hidalgo will greet Beck first here. He has singled home a run. He's doubled and scored. He's walked and struck out.
Once again, the calmest man in the ballpark is the man you're looking at, Rod Beck, with 50 saves and just a spectacular year.
A little squibber off the end of his bat. Grace Field steps on the bag. 1 pitch, 1 out. I would imagine Beck could work 3 innings. His spot is second in the Cub order. Looking ahead to the 11th, Morandini, Service, and Matt Mieske would be due. But you got to get there first.
Well, again, the Cubs have just an array of left-hand hitters on that bench to face the right-handed Ellerton. Billy Wagner worked 1 inning, so he's of no use to them. He's gone. That's always good news. But Rod Beck has got to navigate his way by Bell and Bagwell, and if anybody gets on, Alou. And there's one of the big left-handed bats for the Cubs.
Tyler Houston looking on as Bell takes a strike. He's 0 for 4 today. Boy, people glued to their sets around the country watching this ball game. The 0-1 off his bat. There's a break. 0-2.
Well, Bell is a free swinger. He will swing at just about anything, so you don't have to throw him a strike. This is a guy that's fanned 126 times this year.
Let's make it 127 right here. 0-2.
Throw one of those forkballs in the dirt and you probably got it.
Fastball. Maybe set him up for it. 1-2. A great job yesterday by Bob Brenly, Tom Brenneman. Here at the ball game yesterday, they're looking on in Arizona. What a weekend in Houston. The 1-2. Little looping liner into center field. The winning run's on with 1 out. So here's Bagwell. Bagwell with a single his last time brought the Astros to within a run, 3-2. Bell, you got to keep an eye on him too. He's stolen 13 bases.
Now Rod Beck doesn't use a slide step, and he's not difficult to run against. Now, I don't know how much running they're going to do though, Chip. Don't forget, to them this game means very little. I don't know if they can afford a turned ankle going into the playoffs, but it's a good lead by Bell at first.
Not going. Bagwell takes a strike call.
Yesterday, when Beck went to face Bagwell, he threw him a high fastball, and Bagwell promptly rifled it out of the ballpark.
Let's not have history repeat itself here.
I'm thinking he's not going to see that same high fastball middle in.
Beck, of course, off the stretch. He faces Bagwell with a count of 0-1. 3-3, bottom 10. The pitch. Low to even the count. Three game. Bottom of the 10th inning. Terry Mulholland pitched a marvelous game. 8 innings of 3-run, 9 strikeout baseball. The 1-1 pitch. Here it is. Out in front, 1-2. Boy, how tantalizing that pitch must look. You swing as hard as you can, and it just dies before it gets to the plate.
And that's the forkball. And Rod throws it a couple different speeds. That one was a dandy.
So Bagwell behind, 1-2. Bell, another good lead over at first. 1 on, 1 out. Astros 3, Cubs 3. Boy, this takes me back to 1991 when I was a young announcer with the Braves, and the Atlanta team had to come to Houston and win every game. Well, they had a ball game that went 13 innings before Atlanta finally won it. And of course, the Braves went on to win the division that year and the National League Championship. This one's gone into extra innings. Will the visitors win again? We shall see. The 1-2. He just did stay alive. 2 outs in Colorado. Runner at first. Giants 7, Rockies 6. And it's Vinny Castilla against Julian Tavarez.
I'd have to believe, Chip, that in a normal situation, if this game meant a great deal to the Rockies, they would have run with Bell already. And they might run with him right here. He's getting just a little bit extra on that lead.
He was leading, and backfires to first.
You figure at 1 and 2, you're probably going to see something low and out of the zone.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
And it looks to me like
1 and 2 to Bagwell. The runner goes, the pitch. Swing, line drive, left field, base hit. Mieske comes up firing toward third. It's offline. Runners at the corners, 1 man out.
And the only way that Bell could get the third was because he was running on the play. So he had measured his lead. He took an extra step, and he beat the Mieske throw to third. So runners at
coming to bat in the top of the 9th inning. Still tied in Houston. Chicago and the Astros. Gary Thorne and Joe Morgan.
Can you believe this? What a finish to this year. 3-3. Houston, the opportunity to win it in the 10th, ended up with the bases loaded. Could not get a run in, even though they had it loaded with 1 away. Orlando Merced will stay in the ball game in left field. And Tyler Houston will stay in the game and move behind the plate. Rod Beck now working in his 3rd inning of relief. Brad Ausmus leads it off. And Ausmus bangs his bat down because he just missed it. Merced puts it away, 1 down.
Well, the Cubs are kind of putting everything on the line here because this is Rod Beck's 3rd inning, and if he's able to get out of this inning, who would close if they did go into a playoff tomorrow with the Giants? I don't know how much he could pitch after pitching 3 innings in a ball game today, but you know, if they win or are lucky enough to win here and the Giants lose, then they don't have to worry about that.
That's right.
And I
you
think
got to win first, right?
That's your first priority.
Carl Everett is on as the pinch hitter. Everett against Beck. And takes the fastball on the inside corner. Carl Everett 0 for 6 in his career. He is platooned with Richard Hidalgo in center field. Both of them have put up some very fine offensive numbers. Beck way up high with that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the order, Biggio due up next. 1 ball, 1 strike. Carl Everett pops it up. Tyler Houston gives chase. No play. Beck's longest outing this year, 2 1/3 innings. That's what he's pitched in this game. He's matched his longest. There's the man they won't use, Kerry Wood. The arm problems have shut him down at least for the rest of the regular season, maybe even for the postseason. They don't want to risk damage. Boy, do they wish that hadn't happened.
Well, they've lost 5 of their last 7, and
1-2 hit in the air to right field, back on the wall. Sosa has to play it off the wall. Carl Everett heading to second base. Sosa trying to chase it down, going for 3. Relay throw. Everett is there, no throw. Carl Everett with a triple.
And Gary, that ball was just hit too hard. I mean, it was a line drive. It looked like Sosa had a bead on it for a second. Then he was running out of room. because the ball was hit so hard and it bounced away from him. Low, looks like a low fork ball, splitter, and I mean, he rips it. I mean, this is a bullet. You see Sosa, he thought he had a chance, but then he realized he wasn't going to be able to get back there. He tries to run it down, and by the time Lance Johnson gets it back in, Carl Everett had hustled in the third with a triple.
Remember that play by Lance Johnson. If he doesn't back that up and over there, this game's over.
Yeah, definitely good job there by Lance Johnson.
Now Biggio will be given the intentional pass with 1 out. Runner on at third. Intentional pass surrendered here. Hidalgo, Richard Hidalgo is on deck, number 2 in the order.
Well, if you're going to walk Biggio, I think you also have to walk Hidalgo, because he's awfully tough to double up on a ground ball, so you have to walk him and pitch to Bell with the bases loaded. At least that would be the strategy that I think they're going to use.
First and third now with 1 away. Second inning in a row. They have been able to get a man in scoring position with only 1 away. They didn't get it done in the 10th inning. Mike Cubbage, coach, talking to Carl Everett.
Well, they want to decide whether they want to walk Hidalgo or not. It's not cut and dried.
We will follow this season-ending race for the postseason. This game ends and they're still playing in Colorado. We'll take you there. It's 8-8 in the 9th inning. San Francisco and the Rockies. Felix already up for the 2nd time in the bullpen.
Well, it looks like what
they want the outfield.
No, but it looks like maybe that they're going to put 1 extra infielder in here. That's what it appears. I mean, I will have to wait and see.
They want to see which one they want, I think.
They're bringing Merced in because he's played some infield.
He's a first baseman as well as an outfielder. So they will use the extra infielder and 2 outfielders. Oh my. Only 2 outfielders, Johnson and Sosa. 5 infielders, runners at first and third. They're going to try for 2 by putting Merced right on second base.
Well, what they're doing, and I think it's a good idea. I actually like this. I really do. I'm not one for a lot of different strategic moves, but I like this because what they're doing is they're allowing themselves to go for 2 without having the second baseman or the shortstop cheat toward the bag and open up a hole. But you're going to have a guy at second base trying to turn it that's not used to turning a double play. So in one way I like it, in another way I don't.
And look at the room in the outfield. Richard Hidalgo.
Don't look in the outfield, Richard.
What a way to end this season.
Yeah, do not look out there. Just go up and swing the bat. But this is interesting. Now you've got Orlando Merced at second base, so one hopper to Blauser. He's probably going to go to, that's what he's telling him, I'm going to go to you. Now you've got to turn it.
1 strike count, 1 down. Houston scores a run here. This game is over. The 0-1 delivery. Hit in the air. Deep to center field. Way back. Being played by Johnson. The tag by Carl Everett. And Houston has beaten Chicago. 4-3. Sosa, no home runs today. And the Houston Astros in 11 innings on a sacrifice fly by Richard Hidalgo after the 1-out triple by Carl Everett have given the Astros a 4-3 lead. It's now all up to the San Francisco Giants. Fate is in their hand for Joe Morgan, Gary Thorne. Let's go to Dave Campbell. David.
Playoff in Chicago tomorrow. Nafy Perez has just hit a home run to give the Rockies a win. And the Cubs walking off the field as they get to the clubhouse will find out they're still alive. Nafy Perez against Rob Nen. There will be a playoff tomorrow. Dusty Baker's Giants had a 7-0 lead, and the Rockies came all the way back. And Nafy Perez hits a leadoff homer in the bottom half of the 9th inning to give the Rockies a 9-8 lead win.
Dave, I think Dusty just realized that Houston had won the game out there and that he's still alive. The smile's back on his face. Wow. Neffy, they just go right after him. Not known for power. He gets a ball down, and he knew he got it all the way. We talked about how the ball's carrying in this ballpark. The little man put a charge into it. It looks like we got a little more excitement coming tomorrow.
Dusty cannot believe it. He had his closer Rob Nen on and saw his club with a 7-0 lead at the Temple of Boom, but that is never enough in this ballpark as Nafy Perez, after a 3-run homer by Todd Helton, got him close. Vinny Castilla put him ahead 8-7 with a 2-run homer. Jeff Kent tied it in the 8th with a home run, and Nafy Perez hits a home run in the bottom half of the 9th inning to give the Rockies a win and force the playoff in Chicago tomorrow. So the Rockies beat the Giants. We will have baseball in Chicago tomorrow. Bill Pito, talk about developments.
Dave, what an incredible day.